Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by FYF Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco.
Good morning. Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. I am your better host today, John Luke Garofalo, joined as always by Mr. Coop A. Fiasco. How you doing today, Coop?
Yeah, I thought we agreed that with Simon God we were going to go with like the sleepy talk
Coop and
show
the Hogs. Oh,
intro.
you're right.
Like I thought we were going to Coop and the Hogs. Welcome to the
Coop and the
show.
Hogs.
I thought we were doing the
Let's ride.
welcome into the fantasy football show, sponsored by NPR.
Sponsored by your local library.
Make sure to protect the owls.
Yes, don't scare any owls because they are endangered.
Next, we're going to have on a scientist who also plays the cello to
His
talk
name is
about
Dr. Phillips.
the Bengals game.
The Bengals game. This is probably the worst.
Simon, come back.
Where are you, Simon?
We got some people in the chat trickling in.
We do. We got Jaylen.
Bottom of the morning
Craig,
to you three.
Bottom of the morning to you, Craigathy.
And then we also have Jaywall in the chat. Party on,
Jaywall up so early, bro. Welcome in. Today we got some fun stuff for you today. We are talking football. We had a ton of football yesterday. We got Dolphins, Ravens, Jets, Browns. Why'd you throw Jets, Browns in there, Keith? You wanted me to say that. That's of all the games, that's the one you're gonna bring up.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Joe Flacco, dude, absolute dog.
Getting the game in the chat, guys. Oh God, I miss Simon.
Yeah, he'll be back. He's his internet. We talked to it. We're just like getting ready for the show for like 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden his internet's just like, oh, showtime. See ya.
Showtime. Right? Yeah, we're out.
1 minute before.
Yeah,
but we'll get him sorted out. We'll get him settled out, and we'll
absolutely get him sorted out. But first, Coop, do you want to get into some news?
Yeah, let's talk some
news. Probably one of the biggest news coming out of this weekend. Trey Lance broke his ankle on the second drive of that play in the 49ers game. Coop, how you feeling about Trey Lance with a broken leg? Jimmy G came in. Are you excited about Trey Lance?
I mean, so I kind of was. That's the thing is that like from a fantasy football perspective, like there's nothing worse than injuries because all the arguments you had, no one can be right. We don't have a big enough sample size. No one knows what would happen, what wouldn't have happened. And now you got this poor guy that's, trying to make a living here. And now he can't play. Hopefully he comes back healthy, but it's just like I think everyone can agree that injuries are whack. Right. So, except maybe Jimmy G, who gets to be the quarterback again.
He does. And that move to not trade him immediately paying off for the 49ers. Can we rule out that Shanahan's got some sort of like crystal ball back there that he's using?
Honestly, though, I went back and looked at it, and virtually every guy that we consider to be a mobile QB missed games or got banged up in some way except Josh Allen last year. Like Trey Lance broke his finger.
He didn't run that much last year, right? Didn't Josh Allen run for less than he normally does?
Less than normal, but he's still considered a mobile QB. I mean, he still lowers his shoulder and crushes at the goal line, right?
Yeah.
Like he still throws that weight around. Maybe he doesn't hurdle as much as he did the first couple of years, which is whack because hurdles are awesome. But but think about it. Kyler Murray missed time. Lamar Jackson missed a ton of time, and his backup had to come in. Did Dak get hurt? He gets hurt always. Some way or another.
Dak does get hurt a lot. Yeah.
Everybody missed games. I think Russ also got a little banged up, dude. It's crazy. So like all these mobile QBs missed time last year. So I'm not surprised that a mobile QB got hurt because that's what happens, right? So
that is what happens. Yeah.
Smart of them for keeping him, even though I imagine a big part of that was nobody wanted to trade for him. So
yeah, that honestly could have been a huge part of it. We got Jordan Loop. Is it Loop or Loop?
It's Loop. like
Loop,
Coop
Jordan
on
Loop.
the L.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Thank you. Jordan Loop in the chat said, yo, what was that yesterday? What was that yesterday? Worst fantasy weekend for me in a long time. Coop, how'd you do in your fantasy matchups?
What's funny is I lost a ton of my matchups last week, and I won a bunch of them this week. So, Jordan, one of us is smart. The other one of us is stupid. I'm probably stupid, but I know I'm stupid, but you might also be stupid. I don't know. Probably. We're probably both bad at this. But I felt better about this week. I did a little bit better in a lot of my leagues. So, not a bad week for me. I want to hear how the rest of you guys did in the chat. Tommy, how'd you do?
Yeah, we
Craig,
need some. Hey,
Jaylen.
Call in if you got a good, just like real sad story for us about the weekend.
Yeah, not even just about football either. Like if
just in general,
plants, you forgot to water your favorite plant,
your favorite plant died.
You're not Sir Plant, of course, but
no, of course not.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what happened this weekend. We're interested in hearing it.
Absolutely.
One sad thing that happened was the Jets looked really good.
The Jets did look really good. And we're gonna get into that game very shortly here. How do you want to do this, Coop? You want to just go matchups?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Usually Simon does everything, and I just kind of
I just get to sit here in like passenger seat. Yeah, I really don't like having to drive. This is exhausting.
Right?
This is exhausting.
Like,
Simon, come back.
Emmanuel, Simon. He'll be back, dude. He'll be back. Right.
He'll be back.
Yeah, let's talk some games. Let's talk about the most exciting games while Simon's gone.
Okay. All right. Let's get all those out of the way.
Best one.
First.
Ravens Dolphins. Right?
Let's start with the Ravens Dolphins game. The Dolphins pulled out that last second win, last minute win to crush my soul. Tim was texting me this whole game, just talking mad trash. The Dolphins, the Ravens got ahead in this game, but the Dolphins came back to win it 42-38. Coop, what did you pull out of this game? What was the most interesting to you? What sort of insights did you see? We kind of knew this might hit the over, and boy, did it.
Dude, I'll tell you one thing that was most interesting for me for this game was, I play that like Rainmakers card, like NFT card game.
Yeah, Gerald Everett card game.
So I sold so much Gerald. I made like $300 selling Gerald Everett cards. Like
what? Are you serious?
Over $300. Oh yeah, dude. Like once Keenan Allen got hurt, those cards were worth bank.
Wow.
But anyway, they've got like all these weird contests, and there's one that's like Steve Aoki DJ contest, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw a lineup in there, like what, see what happens. Like the cash payouts are pretty good, right? But the number one prize is like a DJ in the booth experience with Steve Aoki. So I like put my lineup in there, and it's like Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. I just stacked everyone from this game. I was like, yeah, whatever happens, like Tyreek Hill, right? And then like I go at the end of the game, I found myself I was like, oh man, I found myself rooting against my team. I was like, oh dude, I hope I come in third. Like
I really want to be with Steve Aoki.
Like a grown man. I'm gonna go hang in the DJ booth, take my shirt off, dude. You know what I mean?
There awkwardly in the background.
Yeah, people are like, who is that?
Slapping your belly drums.
Are you friends with Steve Aoki? No, I want a fantasy. I want an NFT card game fantasy football.
Gerald Everett.
Exactly. Yeah, right. It's like, all these chicks. I'm like, I'll get married next month. I'm just a fantasy football guy, right? Like, me and Steve Aoki with my shirt off. I'm like, yeah, dude, I started Jaylen Waddle.
You're just standing behind, like your hands on Steve Aoki's shoulders as you're jumping up with the crowd. Right. Like, just
I was like, oh my God, I might win. This is terrible. Right? Like, awful,
he reaches back and just touches your clammy side.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what Sweatpants Dude did win instead of be chilling there with Steve Aoki, wearing like a My Little Pony shirt, right? Like, yeah, Steve, super.
What's up, Steve?
Super,
you killed it, bro.
Great overlap there by DraftKings. Definitely a good choice.
Great overlap. When you said that, I thought that you were just going to use your $30 to go to a Steve Aoki concert. That's what I thought the joke was in your tweet.
No way. That's but hilarious. I did. Yeah, I mean, I did end up coming pretty high, like 10. I think I won a couple $100, and I don't have to go. I won a couple $100, and I don't have to go to Steve Aoki, which is like perfect.
Yeah, seems like you won.
I did win. Yeah, I was like,
Simon in the chat says, "Don't say clammy. Don't say clammy."
Yeah, but
Devin Duvernay started this game off with a 103-yard kickoff return. Is Devin Duvernay the truth, Coop? Should everybody throw all of their fantasy players away for Devin Duvernay?
It's like on one hand, I was the guy that said like, that's how it starts for a lot of these guys, like Des Bryant, Randy Moss, they start running back kicks, and then the offense is like, hey, this guy's pretty good. We should probably use him more on offense, right? Like David Johnson, Alvin Kamara, like, but on the flip side, he also didn't play that much on offense, only had 2 receptions. We got to get the snap count numbers on the Duvs, but I don't know. For the time being, I'm I'm not going crazy to try and chase something like a kick return. It's almost like returning that kick for a touchdown gave confirmation to everybody that had the wrong process, right? You went out, started a dude who played half the snaps last week, and he just runs back a kick, and now all of a sudden you're like, I'm a genius, right? It's like bad process confirmation at its very finest, Devin Duvernay.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? The way this works is that now he'll probably be an absolute wagon for the rest of the season, making me look like an idiot.
Wagon.
So
what does that mean, Coop?
So
can you explain it to us?
Wagon is typically used in the sports world for a team that is like just like steamrolling. So it's usually used in like college basketball. Like that team's a wagon right now. Like just a team that's like awesome. But I like to use it for players and for like everything, dude. And Craig asked a covered wagon or an uncovered wagon. It's kind of a choose your own adventure wagon, Craig. So like if you're whatever you're picturing, I picture like the Oregon Trail wagon, which I believe is covered. So that's what I'm looking at. But in your mind, it's whatever wagon you think. You know what I mean? It could be like a rad, like one of those like wagons that kids have that they drag, but it's got like
the little red flyer,
like like a flag, like flames painted on the side. That's a pretty good wagon.
Sick.
Yeah,
modded red flyer.
Kind of a dope wagon. So I don't know. Are you Devin Duvernay? Are you in or are you out? That's really the question. Because with waivers, you don't get to pick up 5 guys. You get to pick up 1, maybe 2 if your bench is bad. So, like, are you in or out?
I'm out. 2 targets, 2 receptions for 42 yards and 2 targets. Just let's recap the Baltimore side of this game. Lamar Jackson, 21 completions on attempts, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have a rushing touchdown. He had 9 carries for 119 rushing yards. Justice Hill had 3 carries for 16 yards, while Kenyon Drake led the backfield, 6 carries for 8 yards. How impressive. What an impressive 1.3 yards per carry from Kenyon Drake there. I
told a bunch of people to start him. I was like,
of course.
J.K. Dobbins out. Yeah, get him in there.
Yeah, fire up your Kenyon Drake, 1.3. Mike Davis. He did not a single pass. Not a single target to Kenyon Drake.
That's why you come here, folks.
Yeah. And we had Mike Davis, who got 5 carries for 4 yards and an even more impressive 0.8 yards per attempt. Rashad Bateman had 4 receptions on 7 targets, 108 yards and a touchdown. Mark Andrews led this receiving core, 9 receptions on 11 targets, 104 yards and a touchdown. We finally got to see our vintage Mark Andrews come back. Even Isaiah Likely got in on this mix. What did you see from this receiving core? Coop, I know you just asked me about Devin Duvernay, so maybe I should answer that. I'm out on Devin Duvernay. Yeah, 2 targets. I'm not that interested in that. Like you said, it's very fluky.
Yeah. And here's what
you see from this receiving core? Between Bateman, Duvernay, and all them.
Here's what happens with the Ravens offense, and this is why I was so high on Rashad Bateman, is that they use more personnel groupings than any team in the league. They use the second tight ends, right? They use Nick Boyle. They use Isaiah Likely. They use Patrick Ricard, plays a ton of snaps. Last year, at times, the fullback was playing 50 to 60% of the snaps, sometimes even 70%. Go UMass. Patrick Ricard, one of our few football players from up this way. So when you really boil it down, the base set you picture in your mind is 5 linemen, quarterback, running back, tight end, 3 wide receivers. That's 11 guys, right? The moment you bring in Isaiah Likely, you're not taking Mark Andrews out. You're not taking the running back out when you bring in a second tight end. So you're taking a wide receiver out of the game. So there goes James Proche or whoever it is, right? And then when you bring in Patrick Ricard, once again, that's a run type situation. You're not bringing in the fullback and taking out Mark Andrews or Kenyon Drake. So you're taking out that next wide receiver. That's Devin Duvernay coming out, right? So the only guys that play a full snap share are the top wide receiver, Rashad Bateman, and the top tight end, Mark Andrews. And when you have all these guys coming in that aren't necessarily pass catchers, it really highly consolidates the targets. And that's why you see those guys getting 7, 9, 11 targets, just like last year with Hollywood Brown. So that's what I'm seeing. That's why I'm off Duvernay and I'm super on Bateman and Mark Andrews.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on that one. The Bateman love is strong here without Simon. We're slowly turning into
Jordan
a
Luke
Rashad
says
Bateman show.
Bateman isn't even playing a full snap share, only 61% yesterday. And that's what's crazy is that when you look at like Hollywood Brown, he was doing the same thing. Like he wasn't playing 100% of the snaps, but he's playing as full of a snap share as you can get. When you look at the routes run numbers, that's a little bit better in terms of like Mark Andrews sometimes doesn't even play all the snaps, but he runs all the routes. I think 2 years ago he played like 40% of the overall snaps, but was running like an 80% route share. So that offense is it's one of the weirder ones, but it does lead to this like target funnel at the top. That's why I like it.
Yeah, it is weird, but it's predictable somewhat, which I think is great for fantasy. Craig in here asking how are you two feeling about all the Isaiah Likely jokes with his last name? Still acceptable or already old? Can we get a ruling on this, Coop? Isaiah Likely pun jokes, are they good to go or bad to go?
Like any meme like that that's really starting to get popular and probably even oversaturated is like you gotta have something super funny. Like you gotta be outside the box.
You gotta nail it.
Like Anon Nanduri already dropped the how many beers will I drink this weekend? Likely 80. Like that's done, right? He killed it with that one.
The low hanging, just plain likely pun. The single level likely pun joke is probably not gonna cut it here.
What really is brutal as a writer is that I find myself I realized how often I use the word likely. So like when I'm writing about Isaiah Likely, I have to actively not use it so much. Like I'm like, it's not really likely.
You probably will do this.
Probably. Yeah, I'm like just Googling likely synonyms.
Thesaurus.com.
Yeah, kind of hoping he goes away because I do that. There are a bunch of players like that where I'm just like, I can't spell this guy's name. I hope he sucks.
I hope he sucks so I don't have to say it.
Right, I had to learn that. Say Albert Akwe-Bunam.
You. Now I no longer have to say Alberto. I can say Albert Akwe-Bunam.
I learned it because of you, Dad.
Hey, you taught me, Dad. Simon said, "Hey, I like Bateman. I just like Mooney more." Oops. I like the oops in there. I don't know why. Oops.
Oopsies, Simon.
Whoops.
I think we had that
discussion. We did. Moving to the other side of this ball, the Miami Dolphins side. Tua Tagovailoa, 36 completions on 50 attempts for 469 yards, six touchdowns. You heard that right. 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Holy guacamole. Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle each had 11 receptions. Tyreek Hill had 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jaylen Waddle, 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. Coop, is this Miami Dolphins offense for real?
I'll tell you what,
legit.
The two of us and the two of us alone on this show said that Tua had that upside within his range of outcomes. And
that's true.
I think there was a third guy on the show. I'm not sure what his take on Tua was.
Did not like Tua. Was not a big Tua guy. If
I remember correctly, yeah, of course. And probably would have, if he was here, he'd probably have to defend not liking Tua, but he's not here to defend anything that he said in the past. So we'll just have to move on, just knowing that we were right and he didn't really have a take.
Simon never loved Tua. Yeah.
No, he didn't. So pretty smart by us for sure. And you know what? The targets there are generally fairly consolidated at the top too. Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are getting most of them. I know Mike Gesicki scored, but once again, he's not playing a full snap share. They want an inline tight end. Durham Smythe is playing more snaps than him. So Mike Gesicki, maybe your opportunity to trade him. In Dynasty, I'm keeping him because next year he's a free agent. You can go they're going to sign somewhere to so whoever signs him is going to use him like a wide receiver, right? That's how he should be used. I don't know what they're doing this year with him. I guess they just franchise tagged him to have him be a part-time slot receiver. Is that why they did that? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm out on Gesicki season long, in on Waddle and Tyreek and Tua. I mean, like, where are you moving Tua? Who are some guys you would start Tua over? I'm starting Tua over guys like Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, anybody in that range right now. I think. What are your thoughts?
Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr for sure. He's just more explosive than those guys,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think who might be. Aaron Rodgers. Are you starting Aaron Rodgers? Are you starting Tua?
I would start Tua over Rodgers. I'd start Tua over Stafford with whatever the weird stuff is going on with his elbow there.
Me too. What about Joe Burrow? That's an interesting one.
That's where it gets a little dicey, but I mean, the way that he played yesterday, dude. Craig Ruth Tua over Flacco. Yeah, right, dude. Flacco QB1, bro.
Flacco elite, bro.
Flacco hog.
And
I guess this is probably the point of the show
Flacco and the Hogs.
We should admit that Simon was on Tua. We're just busting his chops on the. Simon's at home right now, like he's like out on the roof trying to fix his internet. He's just like, gotta get on there and say,
no, I love Tua.
Gotta get on there and victory lap Tua. He's got like a hard hat on, just like climbing the poles outside.
He's already got his wrench moving faster.
He's like going door to door, knocking on the neighbor's doors. Like, you got internet?
Please let me in. I have to defend myself.
I got a victory lap that Tua. Yeah, he's in the chat. Simon, fist in the air. Tua. Yes, we got some people trickling in. Good morning, Meat Mansion. Good morning, Albert,
Mr.
Fantasy
Meat
Dog.
Mansion.
What up? Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show.
Listening.
Here is where we
You're
return
listening to
old library books.
You're listening to Coop and the Hog. Here, the good thing about that.
I'm the hog. Wait, so I'm the hog.
Dude, you just figured that out. You just figured that out.
Coop and the Hog.
Coop and the Hog. Yeah. Well, you know what's great?
That's disgusting.
Yeah. The other great part about Simon not being here is that like we don't know how the show works, so we're just not gonna do any breaks. We're not gonna do any.
We're just gonna talk about the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens for 3 hours because I don't know how to transition.
I'm like looking at the clock. I'm like pretty sure we do a break like a while ago, right? So
he's like, all right, and break.
And break.
Okay, now break.
So okay, fine. We will do one. We will do one break during this break. If you haven't, if you're watching on YouTube, download the app. Throw us a like on there, even if this is the last time you're gonna watch the show, because it's
just do it out of pity,
right? Just do it out of pity, and it's like, well, throw a like, throw 5 stars on there, and then you never come back or whatever, or come back when Simon's back. But we're gonna come back after this break, and we're to talk a little bit more about football. How's that sound? That sound good there?
Sounds fantastic.
See you guys soon.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
We got to get a team in Honolulu. Like, what about that, Ray? You think Oakland? Like, nobody's talking about Honolulu for the Oakland A's to move to. How badass would that be to have a Major League Baseball team? Instead, they want to go to like where it's 120 degrees in the desert of Vegas.
Right.
Ray, they should pick up and go to Honolulu. That would be epic right there for the A's.
They could go to Honolulu, and instead of playing 12 games against a team throughout the course of the year, you just play a 12-game set. Just get it done.
What's the flight from the Bay Area? 4 hours?
It's depending which direction you're going, it's 5.5.
Okay, that's not terrible. You'd have to manage the schedule a bit.
Right.
But it's doable. Like, you play your West Coast games, and then maybe you give an extra day. Like, you play in San Francisco through Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then you have your Monday off. Everybody gets their Monday off, and then they play, out in Hawaii for 4 games. And they come back.
It's very similar time-wise for us in California, in the Bay Area, to go to Hawaii as it is to go to New York. It's very similar. So, yeah, like you're saying, Giants do that to go to the Mets. The A's do that to go to the Yankees. They do it, so it would be very similar.
They would be they've already got the baseball background. I mean, they're dominant. The island loves their baseball. And Ray, you could even rebrand the team from the Oakland A's to the Oakland Lays. You can do the Lays, Ray. Look at that.
Good. That's actually, there's no way that would ever happen, but that's pretty good, Kyle. On the fly.
I'm giving away like free marketing right here.
Good work.
Right on the show.
The plan is for them to stay here, but the fans hate them. I don't know if the city likes them. They can't. I mean, it's embarrassing. I don't know. The plan
There's a lot of land in Hawaii. Just think about the views, Ray, of the Pacific. It would put your crap ballpark in San Francisco to shame. Like, everybody thinks that's a good view.
Right.
They'd have like waterfalls and real palm trees and the Pacific Ocean.
People trolling fire in the 7th inning stretch. They would make the
Giants Park look like, the vet in Philly. It would look that awful if they moved to Hawaii.
and then you go to your flip flops or shorts. They serve Mai Tais. They give lays away. Or, the first 5,000 fans, whatever.
Well, everybody in the chat room loves it. Every time I get a compliment, I don't bring it up on the show.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't want to be that guy.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show with Coop and the Hog.
Smash that fun button. It's Coop and the Hog in the morning.
Coop and the Hog on 106.4, the Better Sports Network.
Yep, that's what the show turns into when Simon's gone, dude.
Yeah, it goes off the rails. Welcome into Coop and JL's Den. This is where things get a little wild.
Oh, boy.
So we were talking Dolphins, Ravens before the break. Coop, anything else you want to add to this game before we move on to the next game?
No, I mean, I think we covered pretty much. One thing I want to mention is the usage for Chase Edmonds. I think Mike McDaniel kind of scared us with what we thought might happen. That hot hand business that him and Hot Hand Shanahan like doing.
Hot Hand Shan.
Right, Hot Hand Shan. He kind of hot hand shanned us yesterday, right? With the using Raheem Mostert pretty much the entire start of the game, and I didn't even see anything last game that would have indicated that should be the case. So maybe it was something that happened in practice this week. We don't. The media portion of that, as we've been told by the beat writers that come on the show, is like, you watch them stretch and ask a couple questions, and then they go, okay, time for us to have our practice where you can't see the plays, obviously. So bye. So it's like we don't get to see who's kind of crushing in practice or not. So maybe Raheem Mostert just showed enough that he was the hot hand coming into the game. And that's the scary part about these different offenses. So just be careful with that. But that's the last take I have on that game, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a good point to bring up to our next game here, which is the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The New England Patriots won this game 17-14. It was a pretty close game. How did you give us a recap of this game, Coop? How did this go? I
want to kind of throw it back to you with a question. Are the Patriots back, or are they all the way back?
Oh, they're back, baby. I'm not going that far.
Honestly, dude, they're not even back. They're not even back.
You set me up for. I wanted to be right, man, so bad, but it's really hard to hype the Patriots.
Neither one of those are right, dude. Neither one of those are right. Patriots are not, not that good, dude. I think the Steelers are just also not that good, right? It was Mitch Trubisky versus Mac Jones. It was the game you were expecting it to be. Milk eat your milks. There's some takeaways though. Hunter Henry, you can drop him to waivers. We had hopes that he could be a top 2 target on the team. Last year, he was the second target on the team. He scored 9 touchdowns, which led the league in touchdowns. That was the upside we were chasing there. But, you can't trust a guy if he's going to have 2 catches 1 week, 0 the next. Like, he would need to string together over the next – when you have a guy in this situation. In the first week, he ran a bunch of routes, played a bunch of slot, which was nice. But you can't trust a guy with putting up zeros. He would need to have a stretch of like 3 games in a row with 4 or 5 plus receptions for me to come back to that wagon. So I think you got to just drop him and focus on other things. Yeah, I've already reached my limit for saying wagon here. In this case, wagon was used as a negative. It's like, broken wheel covered. Like that wagon tried to ford the river and it kind of got swept away.
It did not. Yeah.
Didn't. Everybody died of dysentery in the water.
Everybody died of dysentery. We had a couple field goals. First quarter, we had a field goal from Nick Folk. Chris Boswell got a field goal in second quarter, and then Nelson Aguilar 44-yard touchdown pass from Mac Jones.
He looked big, man. He sunned him.
He sunned him. He made him his son. Is what you're saying.
Excuse me, boy. I got
my name's Nelson.
My name's
Nelson.
Yeah, he's
Nelson Aguilar, 6 receptions, 110 yards and a touchdown on 6 targets. He's 100% catch rate right there. Is Nelson Aguilar the guy? Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, rest of the season, go.
Jacoby Myers is the guy you want in any sort of PPR format, especially. He's the focal point of this offense. It's like Nelson kind of came out of nowhere with that play. Without that play, he's just a routine. You look at it and it's like, what, 5 targets and 50, 60 yards. Jacoby Myers is the one that consistently gets the targets. If you're going to start anybody from this group, it's him. The only thing about Jacoby Myers is that he's not really fast and he's not particularly big. So you're not going to get the big breakaway plays. You're not going to get the touchdowns.
He's
really.
not particularly fast. He's
Yeah,
not particularly big. I wouldn't say he's particularly talented.
Not particularly cool, but
it really doesn't stand out in any way.
For undrafted free agent, pretty good, right? And they seem to like him. He gets open, he gets those first downs, but it's just not exciting. So he's like kind of in like the Tyler Boyd category. Tyler Boyd plus, a better Tyler Boyd because he plays more snaps than Tyler Boyd. But again, you know what you got there. And the other guys, like Devontae Parker, plays a ton of snaps, did nothing. You can't really trust Kendrick Bourne, even though Bob Kraft came down last game and said, we want to see. He's like, why isn't Kendrick Bourne playing? So Bob Kraft is a fan of his. Didn't really matter this week.
Kraft.
Yeah. So I think you start Jacoby Myers and Damian Harris, and that's about it.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. Damian Harris, he did have that. He went down with an ankle injury at one point during this game. 15 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown compared to Ramondre Stevenson, 9 carries for 47 yards, no touchdowns. What is is this breakdown about what you expected, Coop, going into this game?
Yeah. I mean, I still have to see the behind this. So we got like some basic snap count numbers so far, but we don't have like who played what pass downs, who, did what there. But it looked like Alex Barth came on our show before and said that they're going to probably do something they've never done, which is just split it right down the middle and have both guys play pass downs and both guys play run downs. It looks like that's kind of what they did. The Damian Harris injury looked brutal at first, but I think
it did, right?
Kind of,
yeah. Thought something was going to happen.
Yeah, but I think he might be all right. So, Alex Barth, again, we had him on the show yesterday, and I kind of followed up with him after since I was like, we're friends now, right? Let me ask you a question. He was like, leave me alone. He just like linked a tweet. He linked a tweet. He said, he's like, you follow me, right? I was like, yeah. But Damian Harris after the game said he was fine. He was like laughing it off or whatever.
Maybe like looked worse than it actually was.
In the chat, Meat Mansion says, when is Brandon Boulder going to go off? Brandon
Boulder.
Whatever, you know what I mean.
Thank you. Big Boulder Brandon.
Thank you, Meat Mansion, for weighing in. Brandon Bolden is he went with Josh McDaniels to the Raiders and he got hurt. So when is he going to go off? Probably
a couple years ago.
But maybe when he gets back. So yeah, no Brandon Bolden. So Sunday. Yeah, that's what I meant. You mentioned this upcoming Sunday. Brandon Bolden time. Get him in your lineups, right?
Get him in your lineups. On the Steelers side of this ball, I think the biggest thing that stood out to me was that Gunner punt muff that he had. Did you see that? See that bad boy?
Dude. Yeah.
I tweeted out a video of him slow motion just getting bonked that bad boy.
Big time bonk, dude. And that's he got meat bonked, really.
He got meat bonk. If I was to classify it, that'd definitely be the meat bonk category. I like
the flavor of bonking.
Yes, of course. Mitchell Trubisky, 21 completions, 33 attempts, 168 yards. Ooh, 168. Ugly. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not good. Najee Harris, 15 carries for 49 yards. No touchdowns. Yeah. Another lackluster week from Najee Harris. Jaylen Warren was the solid backup, the solid quote unquote backup. Jaylen, he had 4 carries for 15 yards for an impressive 3.8 a carry. Deontay Johnson, he got 10 targets, 6 receptions, 57 yards. Deontay Johnson seems to be the guy there in Pittsburgh. Am I wrong?
Nope, that's right, man. And I'm disappointed you didn't attempt to say Gunner's last name.
Gunner Olszewski.
It's actually Olszewski. He played. He used to play for the Patriots. So him muffing that punt.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, was that? Friends. So can you tell us? Was that an inside job? Was this Bill? Did he seed some saboteur?
Classic, dude. That's the classic. The classic Sir Plant, dude. You plant him in there, dude. Have him muff a punt. We did that before. People were accusing us of doing that to the Steelers in the past when like LeGarrette Blount went there And he was like, he went to Le'Veon Bell. He's like, let's smoke some weed, dude. No one will know. And then like they both get
Bill's like,
suspended.
all right, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go over there. You're gonna get signed. You're gonna smoke some dope with Le'Veon Bell.
Bring this dope with you. You immediately.
I don't know why Bill got Southern.
Bill's like, you going down there now, man.
Listen, you're gonna get yourself some eggs, some bacon. Then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna get yourself signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Some grits. Yeah.
Some grits. I'm
And
Bill
then-
Belichick.
And then they cut LeGarrette Blount. He comes back to the Patriots, scores 18 touchdowns. Like that's
Age 35.
right. We'll get you your carries now. Yeah. So
We'll get you your carries now. You earned it.
you earned them.
You earned it.
So disappointing.
Chase Cl-
Disappointed
Go
that Chase Claypool didn't get any carries today, because that was what to me was kind
That was
of
a big thing.
it was a big thing. He had 6 last week, right? So that was like where we were like, okay, if this guy's gonna get some carries, now we're gonna mix him in there, because carries make you they raise the floor, right? So unfortunately, none of that. So kind of hard to start Chase Claypool.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then the last one we had to talk about in this game is the old Fryer truck, Pat Fryermuth, 4 receptions, 22 yards, and a touchdown. I think I know what you're going to say about old Fryermuth here, Coop. And maybe, let me try and recite it, and you tell me if I'm wrong at any point. I'm going to be the resident Coop here. Listen, Fryermuth, 4 receptions, 7 targets. That is solid, but he can't replicate that week after week with Mitch Trubisky. That was my best Coop impression. How did I do?
I think you kind of nailed it, dude, and you sounded sexy and amazing.
Yes.
So
what I say.
That's how I know it was exactly right.
Yes, because you felt the sexiness.
Strong. Yeah, it was strong. Yeah, Fryermuth is exactly the player that we thought. Like, it's just boring but safe. So if I have Fryermuth, I'm putting him in my lineup, but I'm stashing somebody on the bench, just chasing upside with an Evan Engram or Logan Thomas or someone like that. Like, and that's why you do the yin yang with that's my strategy. If anyone isn't familiar, the yin yang tight end, where if you wait on tight end, you draft one safe guy and one risky guy. Well, there's a reason that you have to draft the safe guy, because look at Cole Kmet, look at Hunter Henry, guys that we were hoping might be good, but were super risky. You want to be able to start Muth and not start Kmet. That's the idea, because, we recognize the upside for Kmet, but obviously our worst nightmares have come true. So that's where I'm at. That's all I got to say about the Steelers too. So we can do the next game.
That's all I got to say about that. Let's get into the next game: Raiders versus Cardinals. The Cardinals won this game 29-23. The Raiders got out to a very hot start. I think they went into half. It was 20-0, and then they'd scored 3 points the entire second half. The Raiders did. So Cardinals came back, were able to win this game. Let's see some players that really stood out in this game. We had Devontae Adams. Why can't I see him right now? Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah. Devontae Adams let's start at the top. Derek Carr, 25 completions on 39 attempts, 252 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs had 19 carries for 69 yards. Nice. Matt Collins, 5 receptions on 66 yards on 8 targets, no touchdowns. Hunter Renfrow, 7 receptions, 59 yards, no touchdowns. Darren Waller finally came back, 6 receptions, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Do we have the Darren Waller of old, Coop?
Well, I don't think we're going to get the Darren Waller of old that was like throwing down these like 18 target games, like 20 target games, but his
67% target share.
Yeah, where he's lining up, his usage in that sense has actually been really good, right? Like he lined up at wide receiver for 90% of his pass plays week 1, which is not something that Gruden or any other coaches were doing. That's a Josh McDaniel move, and we love to see that. It's the opposite of what we're seeing with Kyle Pitts. So I'm in on Waller. The thing that scares you is you don't want Renfrow getting 10 targets. You want it to be the Waller show. So, if it's going to be split between those guys, it hurts his upside a little bit. But still, if you have them, you're starting them every week because there's not a lot of options out there, right?
Yeah, you got to. This is promising for me for Darren Waller. I've been worried about Darren Waller coming into the season. It felt like we just hadn't seen it in a little too long. And I was worried that he was going to come back. Devontae Adams was going to be here. It's going to be a new hog in town, excuse me.
It's hogs now.
It's
Keep it straight.
It's oh god, this is a disgusting bit, but I love it. I thought that with Devontae Adams in town, things were going to look different. A new coaching staff as well. Things were just different than the last time we saw Darren Waller thrive in this offense, and I thought that might affect him. It is nice to see him still carving out a role in this offense. 6 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. I do agree with Coop. I think his upside is somewhat limited with these other hogs in town, but he's Darren Waller and he's good. He's a talented tight end, and I think he's solidly going to plant himself in that like tight end 5 role. I feel like that's exactly where he belongs. I don't think it's very likely. Now you got me hearing every time I say likely. It's not very likely that Darren Waller is going to be that top 2 guy this year, top 2 tight end type of guy this year. But if I can get a top 5 tight end, I'm happy.
Now, the one thing with Waller is, did he get hurt? Did he get banged up? Because I saw he only played like 55% of the snaps. So
really? I did not see that.
Yeah, it was a weird usage. Maybe he maybe got banged up. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, 55%. That something must have happened at some point for him to come out of the game, because he routinely plays quite a bit more than that. So if we get an update on that, we'll let you guys know. But I'm not seeing anything that says he was injured. So maybe they just kind of subbed him out a little bit. You know?
I must have missed this last week. I don't know if we went over this, but Raiders signed Darren Waller to a 3-year, $51 million contract extension. Did we go over that last week?
He got paid, man. He got paid, and
that's awesome.
He deserves it. You know, like great story for sure. Him and Max Crosby both dealt with substance abuse issues, overcame those battles, and now they're premier players in the league. You know, definitely inspirational. Yeah, it's good to see.
Absolutely. Any other takeaways from the Raiders side of this ball, Coop, before we move on to the Cardinals?
I mean, I felt like they had this game put away. Like more than anything, I felt they lost this game rather than the Cardinals.
The Cardinals winning.
Yeah, because they had the game; it was won. I mean, the Cardinals looked terrible, man, just crazy that they came around and won it. So. But yeah. So let's let's set the Cardinals side quick. And actually, I think
Cardinals.
We got a looks like we got a caller here. Let's see if we can get him on.
All right, while we're getting him up here, Kyler Murray, 31 completions on 49 attempts for 277 yards, a touchdown, 1 interception. On the running side of this, Darrell Williams had 8 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown. 7.4 yards per attempt. Eno Benjamin also 8 carries, but 31 yards, so a little bit less, no touchdown. Kyler Murray had five carries for 28 yards and a rushing touchdown. Zach Ertz had 11 targets, 8 receptions, 75 yards, and Marquise Brown was the other main featured receiving option here with 11 targets, 6 receptions, 68 yards. No touchdowns for either of those guys. But you know who did get a touchdown, Coop? The Dortch. The Dortch got a touchdown. 4 receptions, 55 yards, and a touchdown for the Dortch.
Hot torch.
Hot Dorch.
The
hot torch.
Hot Dortch, baby. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think everyone knows that like he's just kind of filling in for Rondale Moore. Once Rondale Moore's back, not sure how great he's going to be. And then AJ Green just looks like a guy where if there's nothing there, they just throw it up to him to just get the incompletion out of the way. Like
3 receptions on 7 targets for 16 yards and no touchdowns.
The targets he gets are trash, dude. It's literally like if the play's breaking down, Kyler just throws it over in that direction, knowing that like at least AJ Green won't let it get intercepted. But right now, Zach Ertz and Marquise Brown are clearly the starters, and they're guys you have to get in your lineup until Hopkins comes back, and then we'll have to reassess. But yeah, we do have a guest here. We have Dustin calling in, friend of the show, dude. I think he wants to talk a little
D-Unit.
Yeah. D-Unit in the house. Scott Storch.
D-Unit in the house. I love it. Jordan Loop said the passing of the Dortch.
Yeah.
Dustin.
Morning, brother.
What's up, guys?
Welcome in. How you doing,
Good
my friend?
Good morning.
So how did you
I want to talk about these backfields for the Raiders and the Cardinals a little bit.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's start on the Cardinal side. How are you feeling about the backfield on the Cardinal side?
not great.
Eno Benjamin, Darrell Williams, James Conner. I didn't even mention James Conner. I left him out of the breakdown. 7 carries, 25 yards, and no touchdown. He's so buried in the box score here.
That's exactly it. He's buried in the box score. I mean, overall, they ran the ball well, but with that 3-headed mix we have there, I think a lot of people were confident in James Conner coming in this season, and I think you're less confident after this week.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah,
I think where you drafted James Conner, you have to be worried, right?
I think you have to be worried.
Well, especially now, this week he left with the ankle injury. I'm not even sure did he come back. If you're gonna have a guy that was already kind of splitting a little bit and then he hurts his ankle, makes it even more dicey. If James Conner with this ankle he doesn't come back, are you gonna start either of these guys, Dustin? Are you willing to go there with Darrell Williams or Eno Benjamin?
So I'm picking up Darrell Williams and stashing him with bye weeks coming in 2-3 weeks. You may see the need for him. If James Conner let's say James Conner misses 3 games, Darrell Williams might be a bye week fill-in that you can get now. I wouldn't put a waiver claim in, but I would take him free on Wednesday morning after waivers run if he's available and stash him and hold him. I can't see me starting them next week. It's just too mixed up there, but I think once bye weeks start, we're going to see the need for guys like Darrell Williams who are going to get some carries. We're just going to need to fill in. Now, there's not a ton of bye weeks early, but I think we're going to see that more and more as we get into bye weeks.
For sure. I mean, James Conner has dealt with this ankle injury in the past, and so it's something to be seen. I believe he was forced out in the beginning of the third quarter, but I'm with you. What about the Raiders side of this ball? Josh Jacobs, 19 carries for 69 yards. Are you confident in Josh Jacobs, Dustin?
So it's the complete opposite of the Arizona backfield where we came into the season kind of unconfident, unsure about Josh Jacobs.
Zamir White there. We're like, is Zamir White going to get,
now he's hurt. And Abdullah. I'm confident in Josh Jacobs now. I think where you got him in drafts, you could be fairly confident in him being your RB2 on your team. And I think you're doing pretty well. I mean, I don't remember his draft cost, but I think it was after James Conner, and I think those 2 roles are reversed right now.
Yeah. We were worried. Yeah, we were worried that Josh McDaniel was going to bring over the Erhardt Perkins split backfield that the Patriots run, and they're not really doing that. It's Josh Jacobs. It's wheels up. I saw a lot of trades after week 1 where people were with Josh Jacobs involved, and now looking back, if you could trade for that guy, there's very few guys on what should be a good offense getting pretty much all the work. So. Josh
I mean, that's the thing. It's a good offense for scoring points, and they're going to continue to be in game so they can run the ball. They're not going to get game scripted out. So I'm all about Josh Jacobs right now. I think he's going to be a must start going forward.
Josh Jacobs or James Conner, rest this. Maybe that's too easy with the ankle injury, but James Conner is being drafted fairly far ahead of Josh Jacobs, not just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, it was just 2 weeks ago that we were taking Conner way ahead of Josh Jacobs. And Josh Jacobs was in that field with Devin Singletary and just kind of in that muddied field of he should be the starting back, but we don't know. And now we know for sure.
So are you taking Josh Jacobs over James Conner rest of the season?
If I'm redrafting right now, yes.
Coop, are you?
Yeah, for sure. I am. It just now with what we know now, it's a totally different situation. So
I mean, not to mention Josh Jacobs was running back 11 last year, had 9 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns the year before. Everybody just thought he was going to get phased out because they didn't pick up the 5th-year option, and they were bringing him back left and right, and Zamir White was going to be the new hotness, and he's just quietly been a good running back.
It's quietly been great.
But I want to also talk about the tight ends, and while we're talking about tight ends, what I really came on was to show this bad boy.
Oh, look at that. All framed and everything.
Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that, bro?
I got this sweet jersey by calling into the best morning show anywhere on the planet. I won that from you guys 2 weeks ago, so it came in, finally got it framed up. Not the perfect job, but thanks to the tutorial by the reasonable Kevin Tompkins. Kevin Tompkins got me the tutorial. Coop, you linked that out to us. It was great. Got it framed up and super happy to get it hung on the wall maybe today.
Yeah.
Love it. Is that in the office? Awesome. Did you bring it into the office?
I brought it in the office just so I could show you guys. I'll probably hang it up at home, but I don't have a wall space here in the office. I mean, I guess behind me.
That would be such a flex to hang a signed jersey in your office.
That's where my clock was supposed to go, but it broke, so I got to get a new clock.
Who needs a
Love
clock,
it.
dude? You got a jersey, man. I got the time on my phone.
Yeah.
I wear my watch. I wear a watch like all the time, and I just like reach into my pocket with the hand the watch is on and look at my phone to check what time it is. So
Yeah.
I have 5 watches at home and I never wear them. So
can't wear 'em.
Never wear 'em.
Yeah.
Oh man,
but-
Dustin, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's a ton of fun talking Cardinals and Raiders with you, my friend.
Hey, I love hopping on anytime, listening to you guys every morning. Thanks for the jersey. It's been great. Love it, guys. You guys are doing great on the show.
Hell yeah, brother.
You the man.
Cheers, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah.
And that goes for anyone else out there, man. If you want to call in, talk about your fantasy
Call
team,
in,
talk
hit
about
that
your
call
man
button.
cave, talk about what you did this
Talk
weekend.
about your
dude.
hog.
We're in on
mean-
it. Tell us about the hog. We tell us about your hog. Dude. How did you trick me into saying that, dude? How did you just incept me into saying that? Right?
I was
but,
hoping
yeah,
you'd follow me. I was
Yeah.
hoping you'd follow me
I
down
did.
this path.
I did. I'll read anything on the teleprompter.
I'll read anything on the
But
podcast,
yeah.
man.
So last thing I'll say on this game is that we might have a sneaky shadow corner in town. Apparently, Byron Murphy shadowed Devontae Adams on like 75% of his snaps. He kind of put the hooks into
got an
Devontae
interception,
Adams.
right?
Did, yeah. So be careful in matchups moving forward. If there's one high-end wide receiver on the team playing these Cardinals, this guy Byron Murphy might be a bit of a problem. But anyway, we got more game breakdowns coming up. We got more hog talk on
Hog
Coop
talk.
and the Hog coming up soon. So
Yeah, more
hang
Dorch talk.
around. Do a little Dorch talk, a little torch talk. I want to hear about your fantasy teams. I want to hear about what you need tonight with 2 Monday night games to win your matchup. That's a big thing we want to talk about. I want to know what uphill battle you're facing. And
Yeah,
if
what's
it's
that
even
Monday
possible.
night miracle?
So let us know. We're going to be back a couple minutes. Cheers, folks.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
I believe one of our bosses at Better Sports Network put out a tweet asking all of the hosts on Better Sports Network to react to how their fantasy teams are going thus far. And my reaction was 2 words in all caps: not ideal. It's not having more of a 500 type of week. But then you had others respond saying they don't check their scores until Monday. Why? What? Is it just not fun watching your fantasy teams as the games are going on? I understand maybe not obsessing for the first hour, but normally, Ron, within the first 2 hours, I'm checking my scores. Why are some of our analysts on BSN against checking their scores until freaking Monday?
That to me is like you're watching porn and the girl starts to take off her shirt and then you click off the video. Why? Don't you want to see the rest? Like, come on, man. Sorry, I'm a person that has to look at scores. No matter how much I try and refrain, like I have to open it and look. So that's just me. Sometimes it's not good. I get it. I understand if someone doesn't want to check till the night. You have so many leagues. You don't want to put stress on yourself. But you're not checking Sunday night going into the night game to see what you have left. You don't want to know who your opponent has. You have, I don't know. For me, I got to check. So I got to look. No matter how much I have to, like right now with baseball, like I'm checking it every day. I mean, I thought in my home league I was done. This guy had a huge lead. I am actually a 1.5 back now. So now I'm like, oh, here we go. And I have another league that's close. So yeah, man, I mean, I got to check. If you don't want to check during 2-3 o'clock, I get it. It's early and things happen, but I'm always looking. So I don't see how you can go the whole day Sunday.
It's fun. Isn't it fun watching your scores while the games are going on? It's fun. I get that you're on tilt kind of, but that's why we play.
So what are you going to do? Not watch games all day and then be like, all right, I'll tune in at 7:15, see what happens. Like that's what it's like doing. I don't know. I don't get it.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
There he is. JL classic. We got to get those clown noses, dude. We have to get them. Matt said he would pay for them. The better boss, dude. The boss of the world, really. Yeah. So we got to get those clown noses because with the new rule, you would have to wear that clown.
I would
nose
have to wear the
entire
clown nose
segment, and I'm in charge.
Until
apparently, I'm in charge of deciding when the breaks are, so there would be no breaks.
We just go on for the rest.
Just be clown nose for the rest of the show. We got to get those. We're getting those this week. We need them by Wednesday.
What I said while I was muted like an idiot was, welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. I'm JL, joined by Coop. We are the Hogs. And we are going over some games from week 2. We just wrapped up Las Vegas Raiders and the Arizona Cardinals. Coop, what matchup do you want to talk about next? I'm going to let you pick.
I mean, this is hog talk, baby.
Hog talk.
We got to find a bit of a hog of a game to talk about here. How about we talk about... We got
Bengals Dallas. We got
Let's
Houston,
do Bengals
Denver.
Dallas. Let's do
Bengals Dallas. We can do Bengals Dallas.
Even though that was like the least hog game possible.
that was opposite.
Like,
what's the opposite of a hog, Coop?
We need a hog of a game here. Let's talk about probably the worst game yesterday. The worst game besides the Patriots game. Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys winning this game 20-17, undoubtedly hitting the under. I don't know what it was set for this game, but I know for sure it was not 37.
You don't think it was 37?
It was definitely not 37. It was definitely higher than 37. The Cowboys came out strong, getting 14 points in the first quarter. The Bengals could only answer with a field goal. It was 17-3 going into the half. But then the Cowboys turned it on in the second half, able to pull out this win. The Bengals now 0-2. And the Dallas Cowboys now 1-1. Starting on the Dallas side of this, Cooper Rush. What a fun name. What a fun name that is. Cooper Rush. 19 completions on 31 attempts, 235 yards, and a single touchdown. A QBR of 78.2 in this game. On the rushing side, Ezekiel Elliott, 15 carries, 53 yards. Another kind of disappointing week for Ezekiel Elliott. Tony Pollard, 9 carries, 43 yards, but he was the one who got the touchdown. He was the one who ended up getting the touchdown. Hey, Kavonte Turpin. That's a name that we talked about in the preseason.
Calvin Watkins, baby. Yeah. What do you have?
Calvin
One
Watkins.
catch?
One single carry for 3 yards. Yeah.
Hey, Kavonte.
Let's go, Kavonte. Noah Brown had 5 targets, 5 receptions, 91 yards and a touchdown. CD Lamb, he had 11 targets. He led this team in targets, 11 targets, 7 receptions, 75 yards, no touchdowns. Dalton Schultz, he went out with an injury during this game, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that it was confirmed is not a torn ACL, which is good news for Dalton Schultz. He had 2 receptions for 18 yards. That's what he finished the game with on 4 targets, which is kind of disappointing for him. Was this better?
Right?
He did. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Was that him that fumbled the game away, pretty much?
Yeah. He had a fumble loss. This game. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Overall, Coop, this Dallas offense led by Cooper Rush under center, better or worse than you expected, or same?
I can only categorize this game one way, dude, and that's it was Coop and the Hogs.
Coop and the Hogs.
Pew, pew, pew. I mean, it really was. When I watching the game, that's what I was thinking. I was like, damn. I'm like, turns out that a football team, a professional football team, isn't just one player. Who would have guessed, right? That like I thought it was just one quarterback going up against another quarterback, and then only one of them gets to go to the Hall of Fame. Like, no, apparently football has 22 different guys, and quite often more than that playing. So it's not just only about the quarterback. And if the team is good enough, then the quarterback just needs to go out there and execute, right? Cooper Rush did exactly what I figured he would do, which is not try to be a gunslinger, not try to, extend plays, go crazy, and just execute the plays the way they're supposed to be played, and try not to lose the game and hope your team wins it, which is exactly what happened in the end. So you got to be pumped on what Cooper Rush did if you're a Cowboys fan, because he went out and did what he needed to do to win. You don't want Cooper Rush, playing like he needs to throw 5 touchdown passes, because he doesn't need to. You got a great defense. You have a solid run game, and they made it work for him. So I'm not too worried about the Cowboys anymore from that standpoint. They're not going to be super exciting for fantasy because Cooper Rush probably isn't going to do too much, but still they were able to get the win. I'm a little more worried about the other side of the ball. Worried about the Bengals side.
The Bengals side. Before we get into the Bengals side, I just want to hit on some of these comments in the chat. Simon said, every watch I own has a dead battery. Why am I not surprised? And then Meat Mansion asking, how do I get a jersey? How do I get a jersey? Simon answering him, poop your pants and then tag Coop in a tweet pic. And that is absolutely how you get jerseys.
The fastest way. Meat Mansion will do it. So just know what you've done. Yeah, we should be giving. So we gave away jerseys first couple weeks. We're giving away all the time. On Sundays, we're still giving away, and we're going to be doing giveaways on the show coming up. Like we're definitely not done doing that. Better Boss usually hanging out in the chat. Just make sure you spam him and be like, dude, give away some jerseys.
Give me my
What's
jerseys. I need a jersey. Give me free stuff.
Hit up Tommy. Get in the game. Yeah, we'll definitely be giving some. Here we go. Keith. Get in the game. Tommy coming back this week. We got jerseys. Jerseys coming back. Yeah. Hit up Keith. We found Keith's Twitter. This is important.
Yeah, what's his
Craig,
handle?
I hope you're listening.
Keith Scope?
Yeah, it's Keith Scope. KEITHSCOPE.
He spelled his own name wrong. He said Keith.
Yeah.
It's Keith. Everybody knows it's Keith.
Keith. He is producer Keith when he comes in the chat. So yeah, go to his page. I want to see some.
Follow him.
Craig, I trust
His
trust
cover
Craig.
photo
I trust Luke.
is a picture of the Jets plane crashed and on fire and exploding, and it just says Jets crash on it.
Yeah.
That's Keith's cover photo. That's the type of guy you're dealing with.
We found his Twitter. Make sure you follow him. Go through all of his old tweets. Find anything embarrassing. Send that to us. I want to see memes with his picture.
At
I want to see all
John
that.
Luke at Coupe Fiasco. Make sure you hit us up.
That's important stuff. I just found a picture of him from 2017 that needs to be memed. August 2nd.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm saving this now in case he deletes it. So I want to see a lot of Keith stuff. Let's get that going, dude. Let's get Keith active on social media. You got to tweet more, Keith. What are you doing?
Yeah, Keith, what are you doing, bro? Don't you care about your career? Maria in the chat said
you're a fantasy
hang out
football
too much.
guy now.
Yeah, you're 100% a fantasy football guy now. Maria said we hang out too much, JL, because I thought to myself he spelled his own name wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, it's Keith now, boy. Chief Keith. Hail to the chief. But yeah, we want to see those memes. Get those up and flying around. Craig, that's your homework.
Yes.
So let's get on that. What were we talking about?
I missed this entire conversation in chat between Fantasy Dog and Joe Kingsley, who was talking about Najee. And Joe said he's so glad he ignored the experts and benched Najee this week. Yeah, I mean, it ended up working out. I was one of those so-called experts, saying you got to play Najee. And I still believe that. I still believe that you got to put Najee into your lineup. I think there are going to be better days ahead for him. How do you feel about Najee going forward, Cooper? Are you worried?
No, I'm good with Najee. I mean, he caught some passes too. And I think that now, because once you get 2 games, every game moving forward increases our sample size. But the second week doubles the sample size of plays we have. The second week is crucial. Obviously, the first week is most important, but the second week is huge because now we have patterns, right? And I think now we have to start thinking maybe this Patriots run defense is good. Christian Barmore was a great draft pick, second round pick for them. Matt Judon's obviously good. They got good run stuffing linebackers. This could be a good run defense. Even though the Cardinals, even though the Dolphins look like a good team, they struggled to run the ball week 1 against this team. So now you got to start being careful about matchups moving forward. Now, like we said with Byron Murphy, he comes out, has a couple good games in coverage. Now you got to watch out for him, right? Because these guys come out of nowhere, right? There's no playbook on how to find the next Marshawn Lattimore or the next, not really Trayvon Diggs, he's not that good, but we're not good at shutting guys down. He's good at getting interceptions. But it's like they just come out of nowhere, and you have to recognize it. So with this situation, I feel like we might need to try and steer clear of this Pats defense if you have other options.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. And he was saying that he thinks that Najee will do better once Pickett starts, which is interesting. Do you agree with that?
Sorry, I missed what you were saying.
Do you agree that with Joe that Najee will do better once Pickett starts? That going from Mitch to Pickett will be an upgrade for Najee and those other pass catching options in that offense?
It's hard to say because in our minds, we always think that the unknown is somehow better than the known, right? Like we thought that whoever was going to be quarterback, it was going to be better than Big Ben. Not necessarily the case so far in terms of passing, right? So in our minds, once again, we think that Pickett's going to be better than Trubisky, but there's a reason that Trubisky started, right? So they had a battle. Trubisky won that. So just temper your expectations for Kenny Pickett. It might end up just being ugly across the board here.
It might just be Mitchell Trubisky light, which sounds awful.
worse, but young Trubisky. It's like that's kind of how it works, though. It's like you give Trubisky a try, and then if he's not doing well, then you got to dip him out and go for the other guy and just play for the future. But it doesn't necessarily always look better when that happens. It's just you're giving up on the reclamation project.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Scamper saying, good morning, Mr. Scamper said, Coop's background at a glance always looks like a ceiling fan, and it should be. That's fair.
My background looks like a ceiling fan?
Yeah, like with the MJ.
Oh, that's like right. Yeah. Dude, you know what's crazy is that this is a fairly new house, and the guy installed all the ceiling fans in my place. And when I first came in here, I turned it on for the first time, and it was, it goes right to the highest setting. And one of the ceiling fans flew off and actually hit that MJ poster, and there's like a dent in the wall behind the poster. Yeah, I could have been murdered by a subpar electrician. Yeah,
by a fan.
He's actually a good electrician. He just messed up with one blade on a fan. But yeah,
dude, I would have really run with that story. I would have just told everybody, like, yeah, man, Coop, he was killed by a fan. What? Really? Dude. You guys got fans like that? It's like that? Is that serious? Like,
yeah. They think that it's like a Selena situation,
Yeah, but, exactly.
Not
exactly.
Some dude showed up at my house and he's holding, he's
Evan Ingram.
You told me Evan Ingram. Honestly, I worry about that sometimes. Like with some of the DMs.
You said Amon St. Brown was an expensive Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, it's exactly, dude. It's like people get so mad. They're like, you need to admit you were wrong about Amon St. Brown. I'm like, yeah, I did. It was pretty funny. Like a bunch of people liked it. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is a game that we play about a game. You know what I mean? I talk about it on the morning for fun. We're talking about hogs and like Spider-Man on this show.
We literally called ourselves Coop and the Hog. I called myself a hog.
Yeah, and and the thing is, we do pretty good. You know what I mean? I'm ranking 400 dudes. A lot of these I got right. Nobody was in my DMs being like, "You were so right about Rashad Bateman." Like, you know what I mean? Like nobody was you need to admit to the public that you were correct about Rashad Bateman. I'm just like, oh, like nobody's tagging me on Reddit in posts about like, Tua. They're not like, yeah, Tua had a lot of upside. I'm glad you told me to grab him in a couple best ball leagues. Like no one's doing that. They're just like, Gabe Davis scored a touchdown. that's my inbox. That's my inbox on Reddit.
You just
every day. Yeah. Every day my inbox on Reddit.
Every single person on Reddit is Smeagol from Lord of the Rings.
Mike Gesicki scored a touchdown. Give me the ring.
Cole Komet, my precious.
My precious. You filthy hobbits. Filthy hobbits is with you, Hunter Henry.
Why is that so perfect? Now every single I'm just like running back through every interaction I've ever had on Reddit, and I'm like, yep, that's 100%. It checks out.
Exactly, dude. That's the dude going to hang out with Steve Aoki this week, right?
standing behind Steve Aoki, rubbing his shoulders.
Standing there, yeah, exactly. Like he's playing like an awesome beat, and he's just standing in the corner. He's like, I'm so right about Amon St. Brown.
So
there he is.
Oh my god, look at Google.
There I am, right? There I am in the back. They're like, they don't know. They don't know how many lineups I had. Lamar Jackson.
Look at that picture he picked too. That's so disrespectful.
Yeah, am I asleep in that, dude? Unbelievable, bro.
Oh my god.
Also, since when can we get graphics up during the show? Because I didn't mention any of that Steve Aoki stuff before this, dude. If we could do stuff like that, there's a lot of things we should be doing instead, Keith. What the heck? This is ridiculous.
You just kept this secret feature hidden from us.
Yeah. Are those people made of Jello? They are. They are scams.
100%. 100%. And doesn't say, and they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. I hope I said that right. I have no idea.
Yeah. Right. Like, it's just like, Okay, keep your secrets, right? Like it's like, yeah, like I sabotaged your team on purpose, right? Like I kept all the good plays for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like after the show, we take our headsets off. We're just like, yeah, I can't believe we tricked them into drafting Darnell Mooney.
One.
High five,
Travis Etienne, a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, ridiculous, bro.
All right, we're gonna keep talking fantasy football matchups. Yeah, some week 2 matchups right after this. Stay tuned.
Kyler Murray is a petulant child.
Yeah, well, he didn't have Rondale Moore, and I'm sure he probably mentioned that to someone as an excuse. Go.
Yeah, no, he didn't have Rondale Moore, didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. It doesn't make a difference, bro. This dude right here, listen, you don't want to study your playbook, and it shows. This guy can't run this offense, you know what I'm saying? He needs DeAndre Hopkins out there, somebody, because of the fact that it's like once you watch him on tape, if you keep him in the pocket, that guy's a pitiful quarterback. Doesn't do a good job at all. Could not move that offense yesterday. He kind of reminds me of like say if I was to go someplace and tell my son, hey, when I come back, I need this place cleaned up. And then I come back, it's potato chips all over the floor, and you sitting here playing the video game. See, that's what Kyler Murray reminds me of. And then he comes in here and he has the audacity to threaten the organization. Oh, I'll go and I'll whitewash my Instagram and I'll take my talents out. Go play for the Oakland A's. Go play for that team that playing at empty stadium. Please go play for them. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals, so we can get a decent quarterback in here and know what he's doing. That's a leader that respects his teammates. Because that guy is not Kyler Murray. It's not Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's not that good, bro. He could be a decent fantasy option because he runs around and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You can do that. But as a leader of men, Kyler Murray ain't it. He's not hitting on nothing.
What do they say, man? Leaders eat last. Lieutenants eat last. What's that saying?
Yeah, Kyler Murray would be the first one on the child line.
Pushing kids out of the way.
Pushing kids out the way with an Oakland A's hat on. So I'm gonna go play for the Oakland A's. Go sit up in that empty stadium. Be my guest.
Oh, he wouldn't even make. I don't even know if he's good enough to make the A's.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, I took 8 years off of basebul, but I'm gonna, I'm gonna show up and play for the Oakland A's.
He probably show up to the Oakland A's with the Arizona Cardinals hat on.
I've had enough of this. I've had enough. Whitewash my Instagram of Oakland A's.
I'm done with him. I'm done with Kyler Murray. I'm glad I don't have him on no fantasy teams. And like I said, it's not that he is not a bad fantasy option, but he's not a good professional quarterback.
That's good. What position does he play in baseball? He seems like an outfielder, shortstop, right? Kyler Murray's a shortstop.
Maybe, I don't know. What is he? He probably is an outfielder. I don't know. Whatever he is, I can know what he's not. He's not a quarterback. That's what he's not.
Oh, let's make him a wide receiver.
He probably can't do that either.
That's he wasn't out. He is an outfielder. Was an outfielder. Could be future outfielder.
Go let him roam the outfield for the A's in that big empty stadium.
I'm glad we both see this. It's interesting.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk. Sports talk done better.
Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. It is Coop and the Hog. Coop, how you doing this morning?
Yeah, nominal. We don't got Simon here. Dad ain't home. So if you want to call in, talk about whatever, we'll put you on. There's no rules right now. The rules are off.
There are zero rules right now. If there's ever a time that you're going to do it, now's the time. Or the next time Simon's out.
Exactly. We're supposed to be talking about football. Instead, we just made fun of Redditors.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I'm on Reddit every day, and I'm definitely also one of those dudes.
You're definitely a Smeagol. There's not a doubt in my mind. Simon in the chat said, "Where do I fit into this whole Coop and the Hog situation?" You fit in right below the Hog.
In the chat, you're in the chat, dog.
You're in the chat, dog.
You're one of the hog. You're one of the hoglets. That's what we call our. That's what we call our fans. When Simon's not on the show, it's Coop and the Hog. When Simon is on the show, it's the FYF Morning Show.
It's the FYF. Yeah. It's the FYF Morning Show brought to you by your local library. But tonight, today, this morning.
Brought to you by NPR.
Scoop and hog.
We're just soft.
Brought to you by hand sanitizer.
I'm gonna do a cello solo now. It's 45 minutes.
It's 45 minutes. No speaking.
No breaks.
Even in the audience, please, no speaking.
If you have
keep it quiet.
If you have homework to do, we are now about to set you up.
Now's the time.
Which can play white noise. All right.
I love when Simon is not. Simon says, "Hold your applause until the end."
Yeah, hold your applause. You better listen to this whole solo. Smash that fun button for this cello solo.
Smash that fun button.
Hoglet, you little hoglets.
You little hoglets running around. Oh God. Yeah,
All
Coop
right.
was killed by a hoglet. One of the hoglets. Yeah.
Hate when that happens.
Just out of nowhere. All right, let's get
the head
into
hoglet.
our next
Head of the hoglet club. Showed up my house.
I'm head of the hoglets. President of the hoglet club.
Showed up at my house clutching a copy of Mice and Men. And he's just like, I can't believe you told me not to start Pat Fryermuth.
Lenny. No, Lenny.
That book is actually really sad. All right.
That is a super sad book. Yeah. Super sad play. Is it a play?
Oh, dude. Tommy in the chat. You should get hog noses instead of clown noses.
That's such a good idea.
Maybe we should. We'll have to talk that. We'll have to talk that out with the producer. I'm not sure. The clown noses were approved by the budget. I'm not sure if hog noses are within our means.
Yeah, we'll have to see how expensive those are.
Let's talk a little football. What do you think?
Let's talk a little football. Fantasy Dog in the chat saying I need Davis and Allen to go off tonight. I think Meat Mansion was giving us or was it Meat Mansion or was it Dustin?
Loop had one. Loop said I need Thielen to have the game of his life. Needs to outscore Derrick Henry by 12.
Derrick Henry by 12. You think he could do that? You think
a lot of these
Adam Thielen?
Yeah, let me just talk over you. No rules. No, Simon's not here. No one knows how to host, dude. Yeah, just be a hog today if you feel like it. If you got to take, just call in. We'll put you on. I already said whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, put Dustin on. We don't care. Call in and say whatever. Call in, say whatever you want. A little hog talk. This is hog. This is like a little segment we like to call hog talk.
Little hog talk.
Yeah, it's just a normal talking about football that we do, except Simon's not here.
Yeah, so we call it hog talk.
So it's hog talk now. So the good thing is that if I was in a hole or going against a Derrick Henry, the two guys I would want to have tonight or the three guys really are Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, or Adam Thielen, or I guess also Gabe Davis, because those guys are the ones that are capable of 2 touchdown games. There's not many guys out there where I would even consider or bet on them to potentially have 2 touchdowns, but those are the guys that you want. Like Thielen, we know he scored legit 30 touchdowns over his last 34 games or something crazy like that. It was 24 over 28, and back-to-back seasons of double-digit touchdowns. And last year he only played 11 games. Realistically, he got hurt and then tried to come back, but he combined in those 2 other games for 20% snaps over the 2 games. This guy is capable of scoring at any given time. So if I'm going against Derrick Henry, that's the kind of guy I want. That said, I think I would rather have Derrick Henry in the points than be rooting for that. So that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I feel like you got to take the Derrick Henry side.
Yeah. Tim Wright in the chat, dude. Shout out Tim Wright, dude. That guy's awesome. Tim, call in, bro.
Shout out Tim.
Call in, man. I want to see that mustache in the morning.
Yeah, let's see Guinness. Let's see that mustache early this morning.
That's Tim's show, dude. Mustache in the morning.
Oh, I love that intro sound.
Yeah. Get him on here. I think I just stole it from Community, but that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah. Community's a great show.
I need Kirk Thielen to stack to outscore Tannehill and Greg Joseph.
Who the heck is Greg Joseph?
He's the kicker for the Vikings. Is that a more can you imagine if I was rooting for Tannehill and Greg Joseph and somebody asked me what I was rooting for tonight, I would just be like, nothing. I'd be like,
absolutely nothing.
I'm not gonna watch the game tonight.
I'm going to bed early. 6:45.
There's football tonight. It's I need big Greg Joseph fan.
I need that big Greg Joseph energy tonight.
Yeah, Tannehill could be interesting. I think I kind of said that, and we had Sal Capaccio on the show, who Bill's beat writer, great dude, said that he's worried about the Titans. He feels the spread's a trap game spread to 10-point spread, or it might be 8.5, 9.5, and it's not not an ideal situation. I see you laughing at Simon in the chat. Third leg, Greg. Dude. Greg Joseph. Greg Joseph, hog.
Big hog.
Hey, that boy got a hog on him. Can we say that on the show?
No.
Producer Keith. No, we can't.
Thumbs up or thumbs down, Keith.
Yeah,
Let us
we
know.
can say it one more time, dude.
We just one.
Imagine you're at your
Listen.
water cooler at work. You're at your water cooler at work, and they're like, "What do you need to happen tonight?" You're like, I need Tannehill to have a game, and then I need Greg Joseph to ball out, but I'm not too worried about it because that boy got a hog.
I got a hog.
That boy got a hog.
Yes,
on him.
always. Keith said,
then,
yes, always. Keith, you freak, dog.
Yeah. All right. So hog talk, dude. This is hog talk, dude. So
This is hog talk. Welcome to
that's.
hog
I think
talk.
is that how we should grade guys, whether or not you believe they have a hog on them, dude.
This is
Derrick
the
Henry.
most uncomfortable morning show and
bro.
the most fun morning show you have ever listened
Smash
to.
that
I
fun
guarantee.
button.
Smash that fun button.
Smash that fun
Download
button.
the app. We're on the Better Sports Network. Hit that fun button. Hit that
5
call button.
stars.
Call us. Talk hogs with us.
5 stars for
Let's
hog
go.
talk.
5 stars. What game you want to talk about next, Scoop?
Smash that hog button. This show is bad. This show might actually be bad, dude. Yo, in the chat, tell us if this show is not good.
Give us a rating out of 10. We need to hear your voice.
Yeah.
Just
1 to 5 hogs.
10 out of 10. Let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
What should we? Let's talk a little bit about. Let's recap the games before we talk about tonight's games. What did you think about the which the people said was 100 out of 10 hogs. Fantasy dog
110 hogs
is a hog 9.5. We're gonna get
9.5.
that. We're gonna get that 0.5 from you, dude. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get that
out of you.
Yeah, we'll get it out of you, dude. But 9.5, rock solid, dude. Doesn't get that's
very
that's
great
the
starting
hog
spot.
we get. Earlier in the chat, I saw people saying that the hog.
You hogged him.
We'll get your hogdom. Simon said, I'd argue the Broncos game was less hogged out. And then Jordan said, Texans Broncos is the hog of the weekend. So
Hog of the week.
let's talk about that game. Just not super exciting game, right?
The Houston Denver one.
Was there a touchdown in that game?
There was not a single touchdown.
You can't get the 16 without one.
There was Eric Saubert 22-yard pass from Russell Wilson. There was one single touchdown.
I was calling him Eric Subway Boonham yesterday.
I have a friend named, I'm not going to dox him on air, but I have a friend whose name is very similar to that.
Is it? Yeah. The Albert.
Confusing.
I was with an Albert Aquay Boonham fan that got it started. Alberto. He was like, "That's not funny, dude. That's only funny if Alberto has at least a catch." Zero catches on the day,
Disrespectful.
dude. Right?
Disrespectful. Otherwise,
it's just crazy though. It's like that's the problem with quarterbacks like Russell Wilson that extend the play and make things happen. Is that the play design goes out the window, and who the play was drawn up for, it can change at any moment. So like Andrew Beck gets the first 3 targets. He could find anybody in the end zone. Tyreek Cleveland, has the second most catches on the team. So that's the problem with these quarterbacks that can distribute like that, is that you never know when it's going to be your guy. So this week though, Cortland Sutton was the guy. He was definitely the Broncos hog of the week for sure. Right?
Oh, for sure. Big ball hog. 11 targets, 7 receptions, 122 yards. Let me go through the Broncos side of this ball just to give us some context. Russell Wilson, 14 completions on 31 attempts for 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 45.7 QBR. That's not so good. Javonte Williams on the rushing side of this. Javonte Williams, 15 carries, 75 yards. Melvin Gordon, 10 carries for 47 yards. Montrell Washington had a carry for 19 yards. Big boy carry right there. Even Cortland Sutton got in on the rushing game. 1 carry for 5 yards. Jerry Jeudy as well. 1 carry for 1 yard. On the receiving side, Cortland Sutton had 11 targets, 7 receptions for 122 yards. The Jerry Jeudy, he was injured in this game. He had a shoulder injury. Have we seen any news on that yet, Coop?
So I saw a little bit that people saying that it looked like either an AC sprain, which would honestly be the ideal situation, because the other injury, when you get so it was a shoulder injury, when you get hurt in that area, AC sprain is obviously a bad injury, but that's also the collarbone territory. And when you get a broken collarbone, you are guaranteed to miss time, a good chunk of time. You can come back pretty much fully healthy because it's a broken bone, but if it is the collarbone, I'm not sure if anybody has an update on that. Let us know. But I looked, I couldn't find anything definitive. But he left the game, didn't come back, shoulder injury.
He left the game. Yeah, finished the game with just 3 targets, 1 reception for 11 yards. Eric Saubert, what did you say?
Eric Starbert.
Eric Starbert, 2 targets, 1 reception, 22 yards, and a touchdown. Tyreek Cleveland, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 28 yards, no touchdowns. Kendall Hinton was even in this game. 1 target, 1 reception for 20 yards.
Former quarterback.
Albert Okwebunam, 0 target. I'm sorry, 1 target. I'm sorry, 2. I'm totally wrong here. 2 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards for Albert Okwebunam. That's not
0.0 fantasy points, Mr. Blutowski.
That is not good. And you were, I got to give you credit, Coop. You were warning a lot about Albert O this offseason, or at least in the preseason leading up to this. How you feeling about him going forward?
All those people out there that said, what about Albert O to me when I put my rankings out? What about Albert O? What about him? Right? What about him? He's just not a featured part of this pass attack. Maybe now, though, now that Judy is out, they will change his usage, but it just hasn't been good so far. We want guys that are the focal point of the offense, right? Like, think about Mark Andrews. The offense runs through Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, right? But when you think at a certain point, the stats can only get us so far. Watch the games and see who are the focal points of these offenses. Like, Pat Fryermuth looks like he's pretty heavily involved. And when you watch the game, you feel that way, right? Like, at least you feel that he's one of the top targets of the team. Like, when you watch these Broncos games, Albert O, even when he does make a play, it's usually like as an ancillary piece. He's like sneaking out. So not what we expected. And, possibly a reason to stash a guy like Greg Dulcich, like the new ownership group, but the new front office came in. They drafted him with a pretty early pick. You could stash him in an IR spot. Maybe they do have big plans for him. I don't know. But Alberto, probably not a super exciting guy to roster moving forward.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Simon brought up Dulcich. Do we know, and you talked a little bit about Dulcich, do you know when he's going to be back?
No, I don't. They put him on it's a minimum week 5 because they put him on the IR. They put him on the 4-game IR. So but the thing is, with that, you never know. It's kind of nice, the new IR setup where it is 4 games. It used to be like half the season and you couldn't put multiple guys on it. Now it's kind of, you can do whatever you want. And they kind of tell you how long it's going to be based on what they do. Because if they put them on the IR, you can almost guarantee they're back within 4 weeks. If they don't put them on the IR, they can guarantee they're back within 4 weeks. And if they do, it's going to be more than that. So he's definitely an IR spot stash.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Scamper's correct. Albert Okwebunam, no hog.
No hog.
Definitively not a hog, at least this week. We'll see. If Jerry Jeudy misses extended time, we got to reassess,
What about Russell Wilson? Certainly after 2 weeks, he's not delivering on expectations of what we all thought. I mean, I believe I had him as top maybe 7 or 8 QB this year. Then so far we have not seen that. Like I mentioned, 14 completions for 219 yards and a touchdown. Is Russell Wilson going to be able to pick this back up? Is this Denver Broncos offense going to be a little more explosive than it's been, Coop? Or do you think this is what we're going to get?
I think, honestly, that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady kind of set expectations too high for this situation. Coming over to a new team, learning a new offense, not easy. Like, it's not like he's coming over and learning the offense that everyone knows. Nathaniel Hackett also came over and is teaching everyone a new offense. So, like, all the players there are learning a new offense, and Russ is learning a new offense. He's learning how to play with these guys. That's tough. At least Tom Brady walked into a team that was pretty much complete, and they had been working with Bruce Arians already, right? It's like everyone knew the plays, and Tom just had to learn the plays. With this situation, you're coming in, and you got to teach your QB the plays, and then the QB has to teach everybody else, and it's not easy. So I'm giving them a pass for a little bit. I know Twitter and Broncos world wants Nathaniel Hackett's head on a post, like, Sean Bean in like any movie he's ever been in, right? Like, but like literally every movie.
Oh,
That dude, I was just see one movie. They should make a movie that's Sean Bean, and the whole movie is just like him. You think he's gonna die, but then he doesn't. It could even be a comedy. If you have a comedy movie where Sean Bean is just like every time he's like a side character too, and it's like you think he's gonna die and then he doesn't. But then he actually, for the first time ever, he lives through the movie. But
I want to see him in like just a really just raunchy comedy.
Yeah, I
situation.
think that would be the right way to do it, dude. So
that would be the right way to do it. Simon saying Hackett sucks mega ass. I just said mega ass.
Stop reading the chat, especially the things that Simon is saying, dude. Oh, there's that hog snort.
He said mega ass, and I said it on stream. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Simon, dude. Simon,
you can say that, right, Keith?
Hosting the show from afar. Yeah. Keith, sorry, buddy, but
through his little puppets.
Oh,
through his puppets.
There's a little chat over here. Keith saying you should have taken a break an hour ago. No, we're not doing that.
What are you guys doing?
We're obviously not doing that, dude. This is our that's on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. We take breaks on Coop and the Hog, dude.
Coop and the Hog? No breaks. No breaks.
All gas, no breaks.
All gas, no breaks. Coop and the Hog.
Yeah, so Texans, is there anyone on this team that you can start in fantasy football? That's the only question. That's the only
Brandon
question.
Cooks, you can start. 10 targets, 4 receptions, 54 yards. He dropped a pass that would have, I think, put him in the end. I think he was in the end zone or right on the goal line. I can't remember exactly, but Brandon Cooks, yeah, I think you can start him week in, week out. Otherwise, Dameon Pierce, maybe 15 carries, 69 yards.
Why did they do that? That's so annoying. Where was Rex Burkhead, dude? Did Burkhead get hurt?
Burkhead was there. He got targets. He got 3 targets, 2 receptions for 9 yards. He was there. He was getting worked in. I don't know. I think Dameon Pierce is starting to become the featured guy. I think he's the type of guy. Maybe your league mates they got Dameon Pierce. They heard all the hype going into the season. They saw that week 1 performance. They're like, blah, get out of here.
Yeah.
They might look at this box score and say, okay, get out of here. 6.9 points probably.
Right. There's a lot of that flipped around. Yeah.
A lot of that flipped around. Maybe Dameon Pierce is a buy low. Could you make that argument, Coop? Would you agree with that?
Potentially. I mean, the thing is that a lot of these bad teams do when they know they're bad. The 2019 Dolphins was a huge example of this. Is they do like live tryouts, right? Like they'll go and say, okay, let's find out what we have here, right? And like the Dolphins were doing it where they would put Matt Collins in for the entire game, and the next game they would have Isaiah Ford play the whole game, and then one game Isaiah Ford played the entire game, and then they released him over the weekend. They were like, yeah, we saw enough. Like that's what you're going to get at a lot of these teams. The Lions last year were doing it too, where they were just like, okay, let's use Khalif Raymond for an entire game. Then let's use, Brashad Perriman, Tyrell, like whatever they were, as they were progressing through, Quintez Cephas, they were like, let's see what we have from these guys. And that's what you should do. If you're not going to win the whole thing, see what you got. So I think we're going to see more of that moving forward, and it's probably going to be a little frustrating at times, but we'll say that when I go through this, I'm with you. Brandon Cooks is a start. Nico Collins, I'm still stashing him. 9 targets this week, pretty good. I'm not interested in any of the tight ends anymore. We were hoping that Brevin Jordan could get that big snap share because he's the most interesting as a pass catcher, but he only played like 37% of the snaps. OJ Howard, as predicted, didn't really play because he's not good. So you shouldn't have started him in your leagues. You shouldn't have added him in your leagues. But we were told you that on the show. And then Farrell Brown is the guy that played the most, and he's just not the right profile for fantasy football. He's just a bigger blocking tight end, Jack Doyle-esque tight end. And the reality is there are 32 NFL teams, and your fantasy league is probably 10 to 12 teams, 14 if you're a little bit froggy, but there's not going to be a fantasy relevant tight end on every NFL team. A couple teams are going to have none, and the Texans are looking like a team that has none.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't think you can trust a tight end on this team at all right now.
Yeah.
I think Brandon Cooks you can start. I think Nico Collins you can start.
Yeah,
and I'm okay starting Dameon Pierce, and it's kind of the end of the list for me.
I'm still a little worried about Dameon Pierce. It's like we don't know for sure. Like we
don't know for sure.
Yeah, just because week 1 it was Rex Burkhead. This week's Dameon Pierce. If it's next week, if it's Dameon Pierce again, then I'll be confident Dameon Pierce moving forward. But you're also starting the starting running back for one of, if not the worst team in the league.
Yeah. The research in the chat saying it was eventually going to happen, or is going to eventually happen. I don't know what they're referring to exactly, but I probably was eventually going to happen.
Yeah. Then of course, Scampers in the chat. Froggy, you mean Hoggy, dude. If you're feeling
and then my
hoggy,
mod here. Good morning, Ma. Says just laughing at Scampers.
Good morning, dude.
It took me a second when whenever I first started seeing her coming in. It says JL's Ma, but it's all one thing. In the chat here, just says JLSMA. Jail's Ma. And this is Scamper said, has Sean Bean ever been Santa in a movie? He needs to be. I feel like I can visualize it. And so I want to say, yes, he has been, but I could not tell you what movie it's been, but I can see him in a Santa outfit in a movie.
Keith, you're a producer. Can you make that happen? As a producer, like that's what producers do.
Can you
right?
book Sean Bean for our show?
Yeah, book Sean Bean to be Santa Claus on the show, please. Thank you.
Yeah. That's what we need.
Awesome.
All right. Anything else from this matchup, Coop, before we want to move on?
Game stinks.
Keith says he's on in the 11 o'clock hour. Okay.
So we got to tune in. We have to tune into Moose and Keith.
Tune
in after this show to Moose and Keith, where they will have Sean Bean on, dressed as Santa, possibly talking about fantasy football. I'm not even sure what I imagine that he obviously plays, because everyone plays fantasy football and it's super cool, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
I know, with Steve Aoki, right? So
Steve Aoki.
Fantasy football, awesome, cool, hog, right? So yeah, tune in Moose and Keith later. They'll be talking about Santa with Sean Bean or something like that, probably, right? So maybe give away a pack of baseball cards on that show. That's the kind of stuff.
That's true. Yeah. That's coming up. Corey Nando, 3 to 5.
Yeah, that's a show, right? That's
lunch money.
That's a show I kind of watch when I'm waiting for Fensty and Ronis to come on the
or like you're
playbook.
waiting in like a doctor's lobby. You play that on loud on your speaker.
Waiting for the cool show to come on with Fensty and Ronis. Yeah.
Oh, the cool show.
Yeah, that's the Waffle House show, right?
Yeah. The research in the YouTube chat saying referring to the Pierce takeover. So yeah, referring to the comment to that, it was eventually going to happen. So thanks for hosting the show on this Monday morning, by the way, gents. Thanks for coming in the research. We love being here. You all make it way more fun. This would be super boring,
right?
If you all weren't here.
Us. Imagine if it was us. Sometimes I think about that. I'm like, I'm just sitting here like screaming about hoglets and Sean Bean and stuff, dude. Like, thank God there's people in here to interact with us. We've already had Dustin call in. If you want to come in and talk about hogs or baseball cards or whatever you want,
download that Better Sports Network app.
Download the app and leave us 5 stars. That's what we need to keep this fun going, right? And we're going to keep the fun going after a quick break here. We're going to be back talking about fantasy foosball, a little fancy foosball. We'll be talking hogs. We'll be talking Sean Bean. So be ready for that.
We got some Kevin Tompkins, maybe.
Kevin Tompkins coming on after the break too. I think he's about 9 o'clock. We'll have Mr. Tompkins on to talk a little football, dude. Yeah, he does an amazing job. 9:30, we're gonna have Kevin Tompkins on. He does an amazing job over at Fantasy Alarm. He does this huge breakdown that has all the utilization numbers for all. It's like this. There's like a chart, like shaped like that, and it's amazing. I read it every single week so that I can come on this show and have answers for you guys. So we're gonna have him come on, talk about that, talk about what he saw, what his thoughts are. So stay tuned with us. All right.
Moments. Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett. Swing shot to short. Ramirez has it, throws. Burling picks the perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at U.S. Cellular. He's mobbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right up, 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the impounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up at him. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson to carry, looking for running room on the right side, has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season, the 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Yager turns around. Over to Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena. And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the Bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP Dodge. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the bank, and you're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished in the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer! Pitched by Downey, swinging, there's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
Welcome to Coop and the Hog. Get your hogs out. We're gonna play in the mud.
Keith just made a commercial transition in which it said, and I quote, "Get your hogs out."
Get your Keith and Ernie, dude, mega stars, bro.
Oh
mega
my
stars.
god, undefeated, absolutely
undefeated. Coop and the Hog,
Keith
dude.
in the Hog.
People in the chat, goodness gracious, dude.
Oh
Keith,
my god,
Keith, number one hoglet out there, dude.
Yeah, big hoglet
in our hearts, in our hogs. capturing the hearts and hogs of an audience
of the generation
of a generation.
The hearts and hogs
generation with his amazing transitions. Thank you for that, Keith. Now we got a show, dude. Now it's gonna be tough for Simon to rejoin the show because
it's really gonna be tough because we are really positioning ourselves here. So Mr. Scamper says we're gonna play in the mud.
We're gonna play in the mud. Dude. Why, bro? Everything about that made me uncomfortable. I have like cringy goosebumps. I haven't cringed this hard since Mike Gesicki tried to do the gritty. Dude, but he owned that though, because that gritty was brutal. But you see him.
Did
on
we
Twitter.
talk about that before the show, or did we already talk about that on the show? Because I know we talked about it.
It's all,
but I can't remember. It's all just a big blur.
Yeah, I retweeted it this morning though. Mike Gesicki goes, "Man, it looks so much better in my room in front of the mirror. Back to work when I get home tonight." Like he owned it. That's how you own that one, right? 100,000 likes on that one. But dude, I can get it. No. Oh no!
There it is. He's got it.
Oh! Make it go away, dude.
Wait, one more time. Keith,
No.
One more time.
I'm covering my screen with my hands. I don't even want to see it.
Oh, it is, man. He's like shoveling this. That dude. That you know what that move is? That's the I'm at the top of the water slide and I gotta get off the water slide. That's what that move was.
Right? He comes out and he's like. He thinks he's doing the gritty, but really he's like broom sweeper, broom sweeper, broom sweeper. Yeah, he did the chimney sweep, dude. Right?
That's the scoot, bro. That was a scoot that he just did.
Yeah, the water slide scoot.
The water slide scoot. Yeah. Oh my god,
dude! Somebody take that video and play "Twist and Shout" in the background, like whatever horrible wedding song for that one.
Twist and shout.
Poor dude. Hey, awesome catch though. I mean, like amazing catch. Got all fired up.
Great catch. I immediately wanted to text you as soon as he caught that. I wanted to text you just because you immediately. He was like the first player you just bodied after we
dismissed. Yeah.
Yeah. You were like, "Can you drop Mike Gesicki?" Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah. Here's my article. Yes. Right. But I don't know. Like, let me pull up the numbers. Let's see if he actually played. Because he didn't even play the first week.
We didn't even talk about Gesicki Darren when we went over this matchup. That's my bad.
He played 62% of the snaps, man. That's not enough still for me. That's not enough. We'll have to see what his routes run. We don't have those numbers yet. Those will come out. We'll have little more gritty fantasy dive. No pun intended. You see how I did that, dude? Pretty good. A little bit of more gritty fantasy dive tomorrow. Today we're just kind of recapping the games from what we saw from a fan perspective.
Yeah, just going over the games. The next game I want to talk about, Coop, was the Washington Commanders against the Detroit Lions. And boy, did those Lions put it on the Washington Commanders. And when I say it, I mean the hog.
They put the hog on. This is a bad show. All right. Simon,
I am so sorry, my mom.
Sorry.
I am so sorry. I am
Simon, call in, please. Stop this madness.
Please save us. Washington Commanders lost 27 to the Detroit Lions 36. I just finished Hard Knocks yesterday.
So
yesterday morning, I woke up to prepare for the games. I watched the final episode of Hard Knocks.
So you into this game hogs blazing.
Oh, hogs blazing. Yeah, for the I was hyped for the Detroit Lions. Let's start on that side. 20 completions on 34 attempts, 256 yards, and 4 touchdowns for the man, Jared Goff. Amon St. Brown had 12 targets, 9 receptions for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 carries for 68 yards. Yeah, 68 yards. That's 34 yards per attempt, Coop.
Yeah. So it turns out Amon St. Brown's pretty good.
There it is.
I tweeted that. That's like my most liked tweet this month. Is just being like, hey, you know what? I was wrong. Dude, we're not always gonna be right about everything. You know, it wouldn't be fun. Honestly, fantasy football wouldn't be fun if one person knew everything. Right?
No. Listen, you're taking predictions. The best sports bettors in the world are hitting that 55% clip rate.
Dude,
55%.
The best baseball players, they're getting out 2 out of 3 times, baby. So I'm just taking my.
Let's go to a farther analogy.
I mean, dude, the best golfers are only hitting a hole in once, maybe twice. I mean, come on. Dude, I'm doing all.
Let me rephrase this in a less clear way.
Yeah, I mean, dude, hardly anybody's been to the moon. You know what I mean? What?
The hit rate on space missions is pretty low.
Ridiculous, bro. Dude, so yeah, I mean, come on, give me a chance here. But yeah, I mean, the thing was, I didn't like his profile, I didn't like his ADP, and if I was wrong, but guess what? 32 NFL teams were wrong because they all passed on this dude. The Lions had a 1st-round pick, didn't take him. Had a 2nd-round pick,
didn't take him.
3rd-round pick, somebody else we like better. They had a 3rd-round comp pick after the 3rd round, but before the 4th round, and they said, "Do we take Amon St. Brown here?" Nope. And then in the 4th round, they were finally like, "Fine, we'll take this guy as a 17th wide receiver." He rattles off all these wide receivers taken before him. You know whose fault that was? The Lions also, right? They could have taken him earlier, and then he wouldn't have this Game of Thrones style hit list where he's already murdered Des Fitzpatrick. Has anyone heard from Des Fitzpatrick in a while? He might actually have been murdered by Amon St. Brown. I have not heard from that too. Where's Tutu Atwell? Right?
Has anybody seen him?
Yeah, seriously though, these guys might actually be.
We need a buddy system for everybody on that list that he said.
Right? It's
he just sat there and he listed them out. He wasn't like, yeah, I got them all memorized. He was like, nope. Tutu Atwell.
There's a 4th St. Brown brother. They got Equanimous and Osiris, but there's another one roaming around like Ramses III, and he's just murdering all the enemies of the family. That could very well be possible.
I thought you had another brother.
Exactly.
Nope.
So yeah, my fault for not projecting that. Okay. And I will say, if he was a little faster, he probably
a reasonable response to you being wrong. You're like, sorry, I didn't foresee that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm around. Maybe if it was a little faster, he would have scored on that long run play. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
he's awesome. You got to get him in your lineup every single week. I was wrong. Never been to the moon. Probably never going to go.
Probably never going to go, and I'm okay with that. Moving on to the rushing side of this, so I already mentioned Amon St. Brown had 2 carries for 68 yards. DeAndre Swift, who going into this game we knew his usage was going to be somewhat limited. DeAndre Swift, he had 5 carries for 56 yards. He also had 2 receptions on 5 targets for 31 yards and a receiving touchdown. So DeAndre Swift got this game. Jamal Williams also was involved in this rushing game, 12 carries for 53 yards. And he also got a reception for 7 yards. I must have missed that reception. I did not see that, but Jamal Williams looked decent. He had an average 4.4 carry. Is Jamal Williams worth rostering, Coop?
Yeah, it's got to be a deeper league. And I think if you have DeAndre Swift, maybe it's worth hanging on to him. Swift is already banged up. Could be a little handcuff plus move. You kind of be crazy to start 2 Lions wide receivers on the same team, but he's clearly the goal line guy. Like they went to him over and over and over at the goal line. Then they threw it, right? So it's like they put Swift in for the goal line pass play, but the run plays were all Jamal Williams. So there's something to be said about that type of usage, right? There's a world for that type of player. So he's rosterable. 12 carries.
Absolutely.
12 carries is more than some starting running backs got this week, right?
That's a great point. Yeah, 12 carry, and they seem to love him there. All right, we got somebody calling in from the chat. We're gonna bring him up. Working grind.
Bring him on, baby. Working grind called in on Sunday. This guy's good dude, man. He won a he called in to cut the line. We let people cut the line with their start sit questions. So working grind, good dude, friend of the Sunday show. Working grind, what up, brother?
What's going on, guys?
Welcome in, my friend. Welcome into Coop and the Hog.
Hogs up, boys.
Hogs up, dude. Hogs, what's worse, hogs up or hogs out? What should we? We're gonna let you settle this right now. Working grind. Is it gonna be hogs up or hogs out? What do you think?
I think hogs up. Like you really can't deny what's going down.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. The double entendre.
Yeah. Good morning, man. What you got going on?
Yeah. What you want to talk about?
Man, do you realize the Lions haven't won a game they were favored in 5 years?
Wow.
Is that the truth?
They haven't been favored in many games. That's also part of it too.
Yeah, it's been 3 years or something. 20 games, I think it was, since they were favored last.
Wow. Unbelievable, bro.
Being a Lions fan is painful.
You're a Lions. Oh man. So this has to be glorious for you though, right? Like, how did you feel about Hard Knocks? Let me ask you that. Let's start there. Did you watch Hard Knocks and how did you feel about it?
I loved it, but I hate getting my hopes up about the Lions. I drink that blue Kool-Aid every year.
You're just like, I don't want to have hope, but I love it.
Like, I wanted to take the over on the receiving for Swift every week since he's been on the team, but I can't bet on the Lions. That's insanity.
You know what this is like? Did either of you guys watch the new Harry Potter movies, the Fantastic Beasts series?
Yeah, I've never been more confused in my life.
I feel like working, like being a Detroit Lions fan, watching Hard Knocks, like you're gonna end up like that one kid who just like suppresses his magic and he just becomes this beast.
Yeah.
That's what these Lions fans are.
Yeah, you have to walk around pretending like you're not full of like biting kneecaps.
Yeah, hopeless
That's how
optimism.
I became a fan.
That's right, dude. Yeah, that's the evil outcome of suppressing your fandom of a bad team. You're just like, I'll just be fans of every team, play fantasy football.
Exactly.
So what stood out to you in this game? We had Amon Ross St. Brown have an amazing game this week. What are you taking away?
That it's going to be real hard to figure out what's going to happen on the goal line for the Lions. You're going to get a lot of Jamal Williams down there. And that the Commanders really need Chase back for their defense.
Yeah.
Like, they were atrocious.
Yeah.
They were really bad. Really bad. Coop, what did you think about this game, the Washington defense side of this versus is this like a Lions being good type of situation, or is this a Washington being bad type of situation?
I think the Lions offense is good. I think their offense is solid, man. The defense is, that's where they need a little work. But dude, Hutchinson looked good. What is the guy Charles on the other side had the strip sack for the safety, which was, the little I dream of Genie going on there. I love a good safety. So, but yeah, I mean, the Washington, the one thing they have been able to do, they've done pretty well against the tight ends. I feel. I'm not sure. We need either Loop or Craig in the chat to let us know who is responsible for that. Maybe is it Jamin Davis or who's shutting down these tight ends? But Hawkinson really struggled. First game, Ingram, they limited him to like 4 catches. So maybe this is a team to look out for that position. But I mean, it looked pretty porous in general yesterday. So
yeah,
the Lions were missing 2 offensive linemen, and it seemed like our backups held up pretty good. But I just don't know if that was a true test.
Yeah, Frank Ragnow, you guys got to get him back. Do you know as a Lions fan, do you know the timeline for Ragnow at Arkansas? He's a hog.
I
know
haven't
Razorback.
heard, but last year he played with a broken throat, so I'm imagining he's going to be back pretty soon.
Broken throat, dude. That's the last type of guy that I would want to fight is a dude who breaks his throat and he's like, "Yeah, I'm good.
I'm coming back."
He has to yell out.
We're good, dude.
He has to yell out all kinds of stuff as the center too. Like it's not a joke.
Walking around like Bane, you know, like
100%.
I was born in the darkness. I don't need a throat to play football.
Scariest thing I ever heard in my life.
I can't even hear you guys when I do this, so I hope you guys are just.
We can barely hear you.
Throwing the hogs up.
Hogs up.
Hey Keith, does that make for good radio? The Bane,
definitely
the Bane
does.
move.
Terrible radio, but great streaming.
Fantastic video, yeah.
I was
appreciate you having me on.
We appreciate you being on Talking Lions with us. Appreciate you, brother.
Keith goes perfect radio. I was born in the hogness.
Born in the hogness. We got some questions in the chat. Nick asking from our Front Yard Fantasy YouTube channel chat, which if you have it, go on over in YouTube, type in Front Yard Fantasy, go hit subscribe. We are on there all the time, putting out content. We got game shows. We got all types of fun stuff.
We got a good question over there.
We got a good question over there. Most importantly, who's Nick asking Deontay Johnson for Curtis Samuel trade straight up PPR. What do you think about that, Coop?
I don't think I can do that. I think I would keep Deontay Johnson. He looked to be the focal point. He's like the true focal point of that offense, where I feel Curtis Samuel is more
accidental.
He's just a low ADOT player. Like, 7 catches for 78 yards. That's what you're going to get from a guy running like 2 or 3 4-yard routes. Week 1, his ADOT was under 2. So I would keep Deontay Johnson. But it is close. It's closer than it should be. It's but that dude with Curtis Samuel's side, he's trying to capitalize on some early hype. Like if you drafted Curtis Samuel, he might have picked up Curtis Samuel off waivers last week, and now he's like, you know what? If I can
trying to flip it for
Deontay,
4th round pick, 5th round pick, yeah.
You don't want to fall for that trap. And then we got another one. Peter Ramirez says, should I trade Mark Andrews for Alvin Kamara and George Kittle?
Before we move on to that one, can I add a little thing to this Deontay Johnson?
Oh yeah,
trade?
For sure.
So Deontay Johnson, he's currently has 31.4% target share in his offense, which is great. That's what you want to see. So even if you're a little worried about Deontay Johnson, he's getting the targets. 12 in week 1, 10 in week 2. That's fantastic. That's what you want to see. Curtis Samuel, I'm not confident. He's got a 23% target share, I believe. And I'll pull that up. Yeah, 11. He's got 23.5% target share in his offense comparatively. 11 in week 1, 9 week 2. So these guys are pretty similar opportunities so far in weeks 1 and 2. I'm not as confident that Curtis Samuel is going to continue to get that target share as I am that Deontay Johnson is.
Agreed.
So that's the difference for me.
And I think Deontay Johnson's running a better route tree. He's getting farther downfield. If they were to get an equal number of targets, you would expect Deontay Johnson to score more fantasy points just because of the style of play he has, and the way he plays. That's where I'm
at. Working Ryan saying, how bad is the Steelers O-line? Yeah, they are pretty bad, but I think that hasn't been affecting Deontay Johnson too much in terms of targets. So I would have to pull it up. I don't have his ADOT numbers, but I bet they're low.
Yeah, they are pretty low. But not as low as Samuel. Samuel's running legit like gadget routes.
Gotcha.
And then we have the trade. The other trade was Mark Andrews so you liquidate Mark Andrews, you get back George Kittle and Alvin Kamara.
You get George Kittle and Alvin Kamara. The Kittle injury is what makes this interesting. Is like, am I willing to take on that risk of the Kittle being injured and Alvin Kamara? Oh.
For starters, just for starters, you can't not trade for the Kittle and Kamara side unless you're 2-0 right now. Like if you're 0-2, you can't be trading.
You can't be taking on that additional risk. Yeah,
right. You can't be trading for dudes that aren't playing. If you're 2-0 and you feel really confident about what your lineup looks like, who you starting if George Kittle doesn't play next week, right? Like, I don't think I would do it. I think I would just keep Mark Andrews. He's so rock solid. It's the tight end landscape is so brutal right now that you have a guy that's the clear focal point of the offense and he can't be stopped. That's like Travis Kelce territory, because sometimes you see these guys that break out and then the defenses are like, okay, we have to focus on this guy now. And then he doesn't play as good. Like, the cat is out of the bag on Mark Andrews. He's had the most end zone targets of anyone over the last 3 years. He's never finished outside the top 3 in red zone or end zone targets over the last 3 years, and still they can't stop it. He scored again yesterday. They know it's coming and they can't stop it. Those are the best players. Devontae
Those
Adams.
are the best players.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. You know the storm is coming, and you literally don't have anyone good enough to stop it. That's Mark Andrews. So I would keep Mark Andrews, especially. I mean, this person's probably not even just looking at the George Kittle injury, but he's looking at Trey Lance injury. Which might actually be good for Kittle. More throwing, less scrambling around, but still, I'm sticking with Mark Andrews.
I'm sticking with Mark Andrews as well. It just feels like it's the type of trade that you could kick yourself at the end of the season for taking, because Mark Andrews is the guy. And as much as I'm interested, like I love George Kittle when he's healthy. I love Alvin Kamara when they're healthy. I don't really want to play this injury game. I don't really want to play the whole, is he going to be okay? Is he going to be great? So
it doesn't usually
I'm
work.
not doing it.
I just feel like I have so many more examples of trying to catch that falling knife. Thinking last year, I was like, I'm getting such a sneaky deal on Michael Thomas here. I'm a genius, right? In my drafts, and then he didn't even play, right? Like, Odell Beckham Jr., I was like, yeah, got him, right? Sick.
Right.
Yeah, chasing these injured guys, it can get ugly pretty quick. A lot of times it turns, it could turn into he comes back and he's awesome, or it could turn into he just stays hurt. And then you can sit there and be like, oh, yeah, forgot that could happen, right?
Yeah. Eric, we got Eric in the YouTube chat saying odds Jefferson getting me PPR 45 points to win me my week. What do you think, Coop?
I mean, if I had to pick any one player to possibly do that, that's the guy, right? Like him or Cooper Kupp, I guess. But like Justin Jefferson is the 45-point guy if you need one of those guys. And if he scores 45 points, fantasy football is ruined. Because if he's just going to score 40 points every week, then what are we even doing? You know what I mean? So almost got to root against him doing that because it makes it less fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one guy.
All right,
wins.
Coop.
You just take one player and you win. It was like the year Peyton Manning threw 55 touchdown passes.
Oh my God. My friend,
stupid.
My friend Andres is like one of my best friends. He is not a big football guy, but we were in this, 6-man high school league since high school. Yeah. And he auto drafted Peyton Manning that year and won the championship. Barely set his lineup the whole season and still won his championship just because he left Peyton Manning in his lineup from the start of the season that he auto drafted.
Bro, my buddy auto drafted a team in that same year and it picked up a bunch of random dudes off waivers. Like, oh, sorry. He set his like queue and it just picked up like 6 quarterbacks. And like, we were like, oh, this kid's done. He traded a couple quarterbacks, picked up a bunch of rookies off waivers just to see what would happen. It was like Odell, Jeremy Hill, and Mike Evans. The kid steamrolled the whole league. So you can auto draft and win, I guess, but still, you're a loser. Yeah. You can't really you can't victory lap it if you do.
No, because it wasn't you. Wasn't you at all.
It was like Andy Behrens, whoever does Yahoo's rankings. You know what I mean? Like, good job. Another win for Andy Behrens. Great job, dude.
Dude, shots fired at Andy Behrens.
Why? No. If you auto draft and the auto draft team wins,
oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess that would be a good thing. Okay. Opposite of shots fired, reverse shots fired for Andy Behrens. We love Andy Behrens here.
We do because he's on the, he's in charge of who wins the FSWA Football Writer of the Year Awards, things like that. Things that
we gotta get Andy on the show. We gotta get Andy on the show.
Butter him up. Be like, maybe JJ Zachariason doesn't win every single award this year. I don't know.
We should get. All right, this is what we're gonna do because I know both of these guys, so we're gonna get Andy to come on and judge some sort of battle between you and JJ Zachariason for the award this year.
He's done that already every year. It hasn't worked out.
And you've lost every
year. It hasn't worked out so well for the Hogs.
It hasn't happened on this show, and I want to see it happen on the show.
Let's just say that battle goes on, and it has not come up hog side.
Hog side down.
Those coins are landing hog side down most times, but I got stick-to-itiveness. I'm gonna keep writing. I'm gonna keep on these airwaves.
Stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, rap battle, dude. Let's get the rap battle going, dude. Hot torch. Give me Greg Dortch in the slot, boy. I'm a hot boy. You got hogs out, logs out. Give me with the logs out. That's pretty good. Yeah.
That was beautiful, bro.
Mix that up.
You worked Dortch in there. You worked hog in there. That was fire. It's fire, bro.
I even mentioned one fantasy player, so pretty good rhyme. And if you like Browns
good.
like that, we got more of that coming back. We got Kevin Tompkins coming on with us, dude. Fantasy guru, genius, meme master, fantasy alarm,
Big hog
enthusiast. Oh yeah, huge hog. So that'll be coming up soon. So hang around, and we'll be back shortly.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Surely. Kickers never retire, I think. They just continue playing for all eternity. Like, there's only ever been 30 NFL kickers.
They're always readily available too, it seems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just get called up. They're like, you kicked for us 10 years ago, right? Why don't you
run it back? Let's
I imagine
Graham
every
Gano.
single kicker that gets the call is on a high school football field somewhere just practicing field goals after hours. Like it's like 9 p.m. and they're out there just in the local high school kicking field goals, and the phone rings. They get a call and they're like, yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing for this.
I have an amazing kicker story if you guys have a second.
I got a couple.
The number one all-time field goal kicker is Adam Vinatieri. The next two guys are Morton and Gary Anderson, right? Gary Anderson was a dude from like South Africa that just played rugby and soccer. He just could absolutely boot the ball, right? They bring him over and he does like a tryout and he's just absolutely crushing the ball. And all these colleges are like, dude, we want you to come kick field goals for us. And he goes, I don't even want to play football. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, so if I can come to your school and play soccer, I'll also, in the fall, I'll kick for the football team. And Syracuse was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you're on the soccer team. Like, come on. And he went to Syracuse to play soccer, but also kick field goals. And then he ended up being a top 3 point scorer in the NFL all the time.
That's ridiculous.
And his answer to recruiters was, I don't want to play football. I'll do it in my spare time.
Yeah. He's like, you got a spot for me on the soccer team. Syracuse is like, yeah, we got a spot for you.
We don't even care about our soccer team.
We don't even care.
We totally had that spot.
Right? They had to like cobble together a soccer team. This guy's the captain.
Oh my God. It's like Accepted, the movie, but they just like had to throw together a whole fake soccer team.
Somehow they still got Justin Long.
Right, yeah. Like Adam Sandler's the coach. And dude, imagine they win the national championship. Like, that's a movie, dog. Yeah.
Boom!
Someone call up Disney. Yeah, we just wrote a movie for you, Disney. This has Disney sports movie written all over. I'm borderline crying right here just thinking about this movie right now.
Dude, the story gets even crazier. Like I should have looked it up again, but like it was like a high school coach that went and found him, and then that high school coach ended up being somebody crazy famous that like coached for the Rams.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Better Sports Network.
Oh, I need to hear some Coupe Fiasco on that. Need to get you spitting bars on that morning intro track.
Yeah, so I did look at they played the kicker clip over the break. I did look that up. It was so he wasn't the high school coach. He was a coach at the time, but his friend was the high school coach, and it was Dick Vermeil, and he went on to coach the Rams in the Super Bowl. But he's just out there like looking, just scouting kickers from rugby players from South Africa. Like these guys, man, are just football.
This is crazy.
Yeah, right. He's like, I got a guy. Here's the rub though. You're gonna have to create a soccer program.
I love that clip so much. I just imagine the actual movie every single time that it plays.
Right. Yeah.
So good.
Ridiculous. Yeah. It'd be so dramatic too. I don't want to play football. You have to.
You have to.
You know, it's like Dick Vermeil comes in and he's like, this boy got a real hog of a leg on him.
It's like, I just want to play soccer, coach.
The Alabama coach is like, what's soccer?
I never heard of that. This is America.
Never heard of that.
This is Alabama, son.
This is Bama. All right.
Work and grind. Work and grind. Saying gotta pay your dues for real to coach on the NFL. Yep.
Dude, the movie, Work and Grind movie, the Hog Leg Miracle.
Hog Leg the Miracle.
Oh boy.
All right, we got Kevin Tompkins coming up shortly around 9:30. What do you want to talk about till then, Coop?
Let's talk about
This is our show. We get to decide.
Let's talk about how the Jaguars are an absolute wagon and
hogs
in the league, or are the Colts just like real bad? Like what's going on there, dude?
Yeah, let's get into that game if I can pull it up here.
The Jacksonville Hogwires. The
Jacksonville
Hogwires. Yeah.
The Jacksonville Hogwires. That is their new name against the Indianapolis Colts because the Hogwires destroyed them 24-0. If this was a game of Pong in college, the Indianapolis Colts would be running a naked mile. They'd be getting down to hogs out. The Hogwires would have made the Colts just do that hogs out naked mile. The Colts starting the season 0-1-1. Let's start on the Colts side of this before we get onto the Hogwires. Matt Ryan, 16 completions on 30 attempts, 195 passing yards. 195 passing. I have to imagine that hit the under. Three interceptions, and a QBR of, you ready for the scoop? 6.3.
What? Is that good? Is that out of 10? That wouldn't even be good if it was out of 10. Like,
that's still a D. It's still a D.
Yeah,
if
it would
it's
need
out
to
of
be
10.
out of like, it would need to be out of like 8 for it to even be acceptable. Still not even
God.
good. Yeah, 6.2, not good, dude. You know,
that,
out there,
I don't know that I've seen a worse one.
He's throwing to the wrong team.
He's throwing to the wrong 3 interceptions. He had 3 interceptions, 0 passing touchdowns. On the rushing side, Jonathan Taylor, the 101, the consensus 101.
Not here.
9 carries for 54 yards and no touchdowns. That's 5.4 points in fantasy, Coop.
He wasn't consensus. He wasn't consensus number 1 for me, and that's because he only caught 37 passes last year, especially not in any sort of PPR. He only had 1 catch. Naheem Hines got 5 targets. Like, that's the game you're playing over there. If that team is good, Jonathan Taylor is going to be real good. When it's bad, Jonathan Taylor's not going to be that good. Sorry to break it to you.
13 rushing attempts from this entire team. 13 across the entire team.
Somebody asked me on Twitter, they were like, what's up with Jonathan Taylor? I said, rushing is the luxury of the winning team. That's how this league works. You cannot, unless you're the one year the Jaguars just wanted to lose on purpose and they just kept handing it to James Robinson when they were down 30. That's very rarely does that happen. When you're losing, you try and win and you try and throw the ball. They went away from the run, and that's, that's their bread and butter. So unless they can get that running game going, it could be a lot of heartbreak for that team.
They weren't even passing that much. 29 total targets for the entire team, 16 total receptions for the entire team, 195 yards. Nobody was eating on the Colts side of this ball.
No, dude, you can't start Ashton Dulin. The tight end.
Not start Ashton Dulin. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 79 yards. Ashton Dulin,
hog. He was like the one. He was the one hoglet on that team, but not like a true hog. Just like I said. All right, next 5 minutes, starting now till Kevin Tompkins comes on. We're doing the Don't Say Hog challenge.
Okay.
All right.
Said it too many times.
No saying hog from now till then. All right.
Okay.
Don't Say Hog challenge is on. Simon in the chat immediately said hog. It starts now.
Bonk. Big bonk. Bonk.
You get meat bonked if you say hog. That was my last
you will get full on meat bonked.
You get totally meat bonked. So
if you say the word that we know we're not supposed to say.
You look through this team, right? And it's like we're trying to salvage some sort of, anything that will make us say, okay, I can start these guys in fantasy. Jonathan Taylor, you're starting him every single week, no matter what. You've already made your bed there. Michael Pittman, when he's back, you're going to start him, right? But they realize that to win in this league, you got to have wide receivers, man. You can't be rolling out Ashton Dulins. Paris Campbell,
Desmond Patton
did not play enough. You can't trust him. Desmond Patton, stud. You can't. I almost said the H word right away. Kylan Granson, Mo Alley Cox. Last week, Kylan Granson played 51 snaps and Mo played 50. This week, they both played exactly 54% of the snaps. The problem was with those guys is that last week they played. The team ran 92 snaps. So you looked at 51 snaps for Kylan Granson, and you're like, that's pretty good. But that's still only roughly like 50% of the snaps. This week, when they play a normal snap share and he plays 54% of the snaps, that's only 27 snaps. that's what I was trying to say. I feel like I was beating a dead horse last week saying like, hey, you know what? Like the Bengals aren't going to run 100 snaps every week. The Colts aren't going to run 92. So just be careful there. And now we got to look at what it looks like when it's a normal game script. And all of a sudden, 50% of the snaps isn't super cool anymore. So you can't really trust any of those guys. Paris Campbell played pretty much the whole game, 86% of the snaps. He just didn't do anything. So for me, I think it's going to just be Pittman and Jonathan Taylor out of this offense you can trust. Colts to me are going to fall in that same category as the Texans. They don't have a fantasy relevant tight end or a highly relevant one at this point. Sorry. Yeah. I want it to happen. Nobody wants Kylan Granson to happen more than me. I've been banging that drum, dude. I probably about 30% of all Kylan Granson tweets have come from my account. Like something like 85% of Eli Wolf tweets have probably come from my account as well, dude. A dude that was on this team and couldn't even get through.
We need to get that analysis. We need to get the numbers on that because I would be very interested.
I've gone through. It's me and Corey. Corey. I always mess with his last name. It's Corey Spalla. We're the only people that tweet about Eli Wolf, and sometimes Kevin Tompkins too, but mostly because I make him. Hack.
Simon's trying to get us to mess up.
We're not saying it, dude. We're not saying it. So yeah.
Should we let's answer the trade question though? Would you trade James Conner for T. Higgins?
Yes, I would. James Conner's hurt. T. Higgins is awesome. He showed you why he's so good. He's a big split end, very physical, and in that red area, he might lead the league in plays that make it happen. So.
Yeah,
I'm a big Higgins guy. Now, on this Jaguar side, a little more interessante. Of course, it's not always going to look like this. They're not always going to play the Colts, who apparently suck. But why don't you break down some of those numbers for us?
Yeah, and I think this Colts offense. The last point I want to make there is just this Jacksonville defense looks fantastic. I think that they're one of the bigger surprises defense wise. They're putting together a good team, and the defense I really think just rattled the Colts. Could not get anything going because of that defense. So something to keep an eye out for. On the Jacksonville side of this, Trevor Lawrence, 25 completions on 30 attempts, 235 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a bit of a comeback game, bounce back game. James Robinson, 23 carries for 64 yards and a rushing touchdown. Travis Etienne, on the other hand, 9 carries for 20 yards. So James Robinson, clearly the premier rushing back there. On the receiving side, we had Christian Kirk, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 78 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. He was the guy. And then your boy, Coop, 7 receptions. Evan Ingram, 7 receptions, 46 yards on 8 targets, no touchdowns. Fantastic. This is a cluster, man. Let's start with Evan Ingram.
Death by 1,000 cuts, Evan Ingram.
Yeah. Death by 1,000 cuts, Evan Ingram.
From anyone that watches Rick and Morty. My tweet was I tweeted out starting Evan Ingram in fantasy, and then it was that gif of him going, I just kept crawling and it kept working. Like that's literally what it's like starting him in PPR. It's like full PPR. It's like, you're getting like 6, 7, 8 points, and with what's out there, like Cole Kmet's giving you 0, Hunter Henry 0, Alberto 0. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Darren Waller, not 0.
Yeah, Darren Waller, not 0, but not like. You didn't have to draft Evan Ingram where you drafted Darren Waller. Darren Waller was tight end 3 or 4, or 4 really, but Evan Ingram was tight end 20. So our kid, we're eating good, dude. Some people out there, they're starting Alberto, their kids are eating cat food, dude. The kids are wearing, newspapers on their feet to school. They're broke, right? Well, we're with our Evan Ingram props. We're like, over under 26 yards. Week 1, 29. This week, over 29, a cool 29, a smooth,
cool 29.
Yeah, free money, dude, free real estate, right?
I want to say it so bad,
but at the same time,
it's really hard not to say.
Meat Mansion texted me, dude, because he's like recovering from brain surgery. He's like, I couldn't stick around super long, but and then he threw the blank out, boys. So he's Meat Mansion got the blank out.
Working grinds. He's Pickle Rick.
Yeah, there you go, dude. Working grind. Know what I'm talking about? Yeah, but so it's like, he's still. I would like to see him play a bigger snap share. I'd like to see him catch that end zone target. I would like to see defenses stop cheating. There was another play that was defensive holding called on an Evan Ingram play that that it didn't end up counting. So a lot of some missed opportunities there. But I will say Christian Kirk playing 90% of the snaps. This week, Marvin Jones played 90%. Zay Jones only played 68%. So last week we were like, is it Kirk? Is it Marvin Jones? Seems pretty clear that it's Kirk Nato this week. So where are you ranking?
Kirknado.
Where are you ranking the Kirk Nato, dude? Are you moving him up, or you did you already have him somewhere in the? I mean, nobody had a wide receiver 2, I feel, coming in the season, and that's kind of where he is, right?
Yeah, I'm moving him up from I had him wide receiver 3, just at the top of wide receiver 3s coming into the season, and so I'm moving him up slightly as a back end wide receiver 2.
Yeah,
I think he's the guy there. I think they paid him, and he's good enough to be the featured guy there. I have been relentless in my advocating for Trevor Lawrence, and that this isn't his bad performance in the past has not been really indicative of his talent, but more so of situation, and that it's going to click. It's going to click at some point for Trevor Lawrence, and I think we're starting to see that. We're starting to see him get into a rhythm. Christian Kirk seems to be his guy in this offense. 6 targets, 6 receptions, 78 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's great. That's what I want to see. One of the touchdowns was on a play that was breaking down, and Christian Kirk became available. So that's another good sign to me that they're building rapport, that they're building trust there in that offense.
Yeah, and I said this all offseason, right? I was like, Tua is a 5th overall pick. Trevor Lawrence is a 1st overall pick. Don't be surprised if these guys are good, right? Like I'm not a huge film guy. I played a little quarterback in my day, huck it, chuck it, a little pigskin, But I will say that Trevor Lawrence, when I watch the film, he makes throws that are impossible, throws that no one else can make. That's why he was such a crazy prospect. That's why he was drafted 1st overall. This dude rolling to his left throws absolute seeds, laser seeds, laser beams. Looks like something coming out of Ichiro's hands. So
Ichiro.
Yeah,
I love
dude,
that reference.
From right field to third base, baby. That's the kind of throws coming out of Trevor Lawrence, dude. And there's very few guys that can do it the way he does it. So if they can cultivate him into a starting caliber guy, Josh Allen was terrible as a rookie, terrible, but he had all the tools. And once they molded him into an NFL quarterback, now he's a super megastar. Trevor Lawrence has all those tools, I think. I truly believe he does.
Yeah.
And if they treat it properly, Urban Meyer came in and set him back a full year. Right. But now that it's on track, Trevor Lawrence could be awesome. There's a very real possibility that Trevor Lawrence is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people are going to discount, say, okay, whatever, Clemson bias. Here, listen up. This is the thing. It's not that difficult if you have any sort of intelligence to be able to separate fandom from analysis. I've watched every single one of Trevor Lawrence's college games, every single one of his NFL games. This dude is talented. The talent that he has, that he's exhibited, is beyond that of what you see in average quarterbacks. That's why I'm so high on Trevor Lawrence. Him coming into the NFL with Urban Meyer, think about it. If you start a new job and your boss sucks and everybody around you, the system and from top down just sucks. There's no support. And you're coming in, this is your first year, coming into work. You can't be responsible for putting everything on your back and you being the coach and you being, getting your offensive line in order and you getting your, personnel in order, all this stuff that isn't really it's not Trevor Lawrence's job. And so for him coming in, having Doug Peterson, I'm hopeful that he's able to add that support and he can start building up the necessary skills to be that NFL quarterback. I don't even think it's hard to find. We see it in flashes in these games.
Yeah. I mean, if he had the support I had coming into this industry, I see Better Al in the chat shouting at Ichiro. That's Al Williams, dude. He, pretty much he started Fantasy Line where I started. I had all the support in the world with Howard Bender, John and Pemba. Now Al's over here. He's got me over here, dude. When you come up with that, yeah, get the arm up in the chat, baby. When you come up with that type of support, then you're Peyton Manning right away. When you come up with what Trevor Lawrence started with, that's just you get set back a year. But now Doug Peterson's in there, and I think guy that's been to the Super Bowl, been to the Whoopty Bowl, won it, right? So there's a real possibility that Trevor Lawrence turns into the guy he was supposed to be. So dynasty leagues, I think now is when you got to kind of try and sneak that move for him before.
If you can make it happen, yeah.
If you can sneak him, especially in Superflex and stuff, before people start looking at him the way that they might end up looking at him, because this Jaguars team they went out and got the pieces. They went out and got Brandon Scherf on the offensive line. They paid for, people joked about Christian Kirk, paying for Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk scored 2 touchdowns this week, and they shut out the Colts. So
The Indianapolis Colts, yeah.
Who's laughing now?
We're certainly contenders to the Super Bowl coming into the season.
Right? A couple of years ago, I traded Aaron Jones away straight up for Christian Kirk. Who's laughing now? Still the people that were laughing at me then are probably still laughing a little bit.
Probably.
Still kind of funny, but not as funny now. Not as funny now, right? Like for 3 years, it was super funny.
That's a win.
For 3 years, it was funny, but now not as funny. So
yeah,
Aaron Jones. And you know what's funny about that stupid trade is that I wanted to say something about that, but then Aaron Jones goes out and has a better game than Christian Kirk. When I was supposed to have my victory lap, one of these weeks, Kirk's gonna have a good week and Aaron Jones is gonna have a bad week, and then we'll talk. Then we'll talk about that trade. Until then, we don't talk about it.
Until then, we don't talk about it. I'm with you. This Jacksonville team is gonna be great. I mean, this Urban Meyer was his tenure last season was historically bad. Right. Like I think we're a little desensitized because we're just like trained to need that heat, that content all the time, right? We need that hot content. What's that hot goss, like drama going on? Sure. And I feel like someone like Urban Meyer, it's just like normal for us, right? It's a new news thing every week. That's ridiculous from a coaching standpoint, just as that whole tenure. So getting back into this, the rushing side of this, James Robinson and Travis Etienne. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest crow I'm eating this season so far is just Etienne not being the feature guy in this offense. What do you think after 2 weeks now of James Robinson getting the premier rushing load in this offense, Coop? What's the outlook here?
This is just how it happens in this league, man. It's how it happens. You have the incumbent player. It happens all the time at tight end. All the time at tight end where they just say, this was the guy, so he's going to start, and you got to wait. It happens, man. You got James Robinson. He's a good runner. He's been with the team. Last year, Trevor Lawrence was calling for James Robinson to play over Carlos Hyde. He went to the media. He wasn't sugarcoating to media. He was like, Urban Meyer's an idiot. We shouldn't be starting Carlos Hyde. I don't think he was inventing the wheel with that comment, but they like James Robinson. So for now, that's the way it's going to be. But I think that, Travis Etienne has shown me enough to be excited for what the future is, because guys like James Robinson that are on these undrafted free agent deals, he's going to want to get paid, right? Like he's getting paid peanuts right now on the deal he's on. He's going to want to get that paper. So if they're not going to pay him, somebody else is. And when you have Travis Etienne, I don't know why you would pay James Robinson. So at a certain point, that's going to flip. Don't panic in Dynasty. But for now, we got to play the cards as they come, right? If he's not playing a full snap share, you got to look at what other options you have. I'm still starting him in some places where, I got like some big 14-man extra flex leagues. Like if you're in a Scott Fishbowl, you're happy to have guys like that because he's actually playing, but got to temper expectations for the time being.
Yeah, absolutely. We got some comments here in the chat from YouTube. We got Javen in the chat saying, if Gabe Davis plays tonight, do I start him? Do I start him, Robert Woods, or Devontae Smith? What do you think, Coop?
Start him.
While you're thinking about it, I'll go first because I do have an answer in mind. I'm going to go Gabe Davis here. If he's playing, I'm playing Gabe Davis. He seems to be the guy in that offense. I think he's going to get more targets this week. He's another guy who, just talk about Travis Etienne, another guy I'm eating crow with this season. Eating crow on? I don't know.
No, you're eating the actual crow. Like the crow, the
Is
plate.
He the crow?
The crow isn't. You just described like
crow.
You described like eating a crow, but the plate is also made of crow. So you're eating on. Yeah. No, I'm
eating crow on crow.
Crow on.
This is a nightmare for vegetarian.
I forgot.
Yeah, I'm going Gabe Davis. I'm going Gabe Davis. If you don't want to go to Gabe Davis, if that's too worried, or if he does not play for whatever reason, Devontae Smith would be the next guy I'm putting in over Robert Woods.
If they come out and say Gabe Davis, he woke up this morning feeling like $1 million, looking, smelling, feeling like 1 million trucks or whatever Ludacris says there. Like you got Gabe Davis in there, but Devonta Smith also played like every snap last week. He got 4 targets. He's not going to be that bad. So get him in there. But the reason I couldn't answer that question, JL, is because producer Keith went into the chat and said, "Hey guys, what rhymes with lug? Why are you sabotaging our own show? Like we're trying.
You're supposed to be on our side.
We're trying not to say that word, dude. We're not falling for it. Nice try, right? But yeah. So I'm in on Davis if he's playing. He looked good. Like if you can't, like he could be the next Adam Thielen. It's just too many touchdowns where he just scores a touchdown every week and you can't argue with it.
Yeah. We got Rushman in the chat. I said Russell Wilson, I'm assuming. Jonathan Taylor and Mixon equals 0-2. Ooh, that's a rough start. That's a rough start. There will be better days, though, hopefully.
Yeah, Joe Kingsley. Let's talk about this game real quick before we have Kevin Tompkins on. Justin Fields and Kmet, how did they look so good in the preseason? What happened? I'm telling you guys. That
kind of goes into Tedge's comment. He says, first time here. What up, Tej? Hopefully I'm saying that right. If I'm not, please correct me so I know how to say it for next time. He said, y'all worried about Mooney. So kind of similar type of thing. Let's talk about Chicago real quick.
Chat's like, you didn't talk about, we were supposed to talk about all these games. We talked about like 4, right? And we just said, said a bunch of nonsense. So, okay. In that game, like when I look at the box score for this Bears game, you had to have watched the game to understand it, because if you didn't watch the game and you look at this, you're like, wait a second, both running backs had 8.1 yards per carry, 9.5 yards per carry. At one point, Fields, before the last drive, Fields was 7 of 9. I was looking at this, I was like, so both running backs are running for like 10 yards a carry, and the quarterback is completing 80% of his passes, and they're losing by double digits. How does this happen? Like, how did it happen? The interception didn't come till the very end. So just really confusing that they were able to be efficient while also being not good. And I think a lot of it was Justin Fields, taking sacks, scrambling around for, a yard or losing yards on scrambles. Like that could be it. Maybe if they went away from the running with the QB and the QB stuff a little bit, they'd have a little more success. I'm not sure, what you saw, JL, or your thoughts on it, but it blows my mind that you can be so efficient in the run game and also completing most of your passes and just not even have a shot because they didn't look good.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Justin Fields, 7 completions on 11 attempts, 70 yards, 1 interception, and a QBR of 6.7, right down there with whoever we were talking about before.
Is that good?
That's not good. Not good, Bob. Not good. Bad. I am worried. I am worried about Mooney. I'm worried about this offense. Justin Fields is already a lower pass volume, more mobile type QB prototype. So I was already sort of worried about the passing volume in this offense. Darnell Mooney, the major argument for him was, hey, look at all the volume. Who else is in that offense? And if that volume isn't there from a fundamental team level, if they're not passing enough, 11 attempts, 70 yards, that's really bad.
We haven't seen the offense like at this point. You can't really do anything about it. But like they only played 41 offensive snaps. Absurd. Yeah, dude. That's ridiculous. That's the league average is somewhere at 60 to 65, like we talked about. They played 41 snaps this week. Last week the Bengals played 100. Right. So here's to answer your questions. You can drop Cole Kmet, take Darnell Mooney, move him to the bench. At least he's playing 90% of the snaps. Cole Kmet played 85. There's a possibility that Cole Kmet could come around, but you can't trust that guy. And honestly, in most leagues, you can't have extra tight ends on the bench. So, we're going to take a quick break. After that, we have Kevin Tompkins from Fantasy Alarm coming on to talk about these night games, what he likes, and to talk about arguably one of my favorite articles, the report that comes out on Fantasy Alarm that breaks down a lot of the usage. So hang around. We're going to be right back with Kevin Tompkins, folks. Let's go.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Quite simply, when I'm sitting at home and I flip on the TV and I have to see a personal one-on-one sit-down with Aaron Rodgers, my blood pressure spikes. Just seeing the man. He's sitting there with Aaron Andrews yesterday. Oh, they're all chummy, buddy. Oh, Aaron, great to see you. Now act like a douchebag for the next 10 minutes. Can you do that? We'll even edit this up to get rid of the really bad douchebaggery, and then we'll still make you look like a douche. This guy. I saw a tweet over the weekend. It says with his new look, he looks like a dude who steals catalytic converters. And it is it is spot on. Whoever put that tweet out, he does look like someone who would steal catalytic converters. And Ray, he spews nonsense. He's a great quarterback. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Maybe the best thing the Packers have ever seen. But, man, I see that guy doing an interview or talking or opening his mouth. And my blood pressure jumps. I have to go take a pill and maybe even a cold shower after that.
Look who's out in front. Wow, he takes on Zadarius Smith. And then he's going to go tell him. Look, he's laughing. He didn't back down. I love that. You talk about fire and energy.
The only breaks we're taking? Box breaks. Always nonstop commercial-free content on Better Sports Network.
I can't disagree with you. You know, when you see guys too, Rodgers had that like kind of bandana or head, whatever the hell you had for his hair. Aaron Rodgers just got greasy, dirty hair, and he's got it just bit of it was sticking out when he was sitting on the sidelines after he got hit, hurt his neck, and
and again, far be it for me to tell a famous dude who's single that he should be dating like 75 beautiful women and dumping all of our getting dumped. I don't know who's dumping who, but Ray, it says a lot to me that Aaron Rodgers has cycled through women like this. I'm gonna assume that they are the ones breaking this off and not Aaron Rodgers. And that's totally unfair to Aaron Rodgers, but the more I hear of him as a fellow man in this universe, I've seen these guys, and they are the ones that after a while, no one, doesn't matter how many zeros are in your bank account, eventually one of two things happens. They find out who you are and they move on, or they find out that you work in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and they move on. One of those two things will lead to all of these breakups, I think.
Beautiful, successful, intelligent women that run from this guy in droves when they get to know him.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
Good morning and welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. Coop and the Hog, because Kevin Tompkins is back. I can say it. Coop and the Hog.
That's right. Hog is back on the menu.
Yes, Hog is.
Yes, I love that producer
Hog is
Keith.
back.
Producer Keith. I'm not sure if he did this on purpose or if he was just completely unaware. Plays the one like promo we have that just pisses off Packers fans right before we bring on Packer fan Kevin Tompkins, dude. So way to go,
legend,
Keith, dude. Right, yeah. Start getting things, getting things controversial right when we bring him on, dude. But Kev, my dude, how you doing this morning? Kev,
you there, Kev?
And he's
Kev is out.
He bounced, dude. He was like catalytic converter thief. I'm out of here, dude.
Catalytic converter thief.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, that. I feel like Keith is like the king of being passive aggressive.
The worst, bro. He played that laugh track when I said I was going to win an award someday. Like, we make jokes all show. I say one serious thing, and he's like,
man, it would have been great if he just, as soon as you said that, if he hit the laugh track, but he obviously fumbled the bag on that one.
Ruining the spot with the guests. So we actually, and the timing was, we did everything on our side perfect. We just talked about the Bears, and then we were going to talk about the Packers side of that game.
And we were bringing them on to talk about the Packers.
Like, I mean, who's producing this show, dude? Me?
I know, man. We're doing all the hard work.
So Kev's gone, so the H word back off. So stupid. It's a hacky move, dude. Oh, it plays it in the middle of while I'm talking.
There's no way you're authorized to use our branding in that way. There's no way. We are suing you 100%.
For real, dude. For real, dude. I
just the disrespect. Stop. Fire this man. Fire this man, Coop.
Dude, you're fired again, dude. Fired. This is the 10th time this dude's been fired.
It's just excessive.
It's kind of working though. It's kind of making me laugh though. Like, don't do it again.
Don't. I swear to God, Keith, if you do it again.
Now people are seriously gonna leave, dude. All right, H word off the menu. Let's just pull
until Kev comes back.
So Kev gets back. Let's pull up a different game. Let's talk that Bucs Saints game.
Okay.
You know, I'll tell you this right now. Everybody that asked me if they should start Taysom Hill in their fantasy football lineups, every single time I said no. And I said, I'm not doing it in my lineups. You're absolutely welcome to do it in your lineups. We know what the ceiling is. We know what the floor is. And we just saw what the floor is, which is a dude that doesn't play tight end and is the third string quarterback on his team behind Andy Dalton, getting 3 carries and getting you 1.3 yards in your fantasy leagues. That's the concern with starting Taysom Hill. I mean, tell you what, can't really say that starting Cole Kmet was a better option, but at least Cole Kmet played 85% of the snaps in his game. So Taysom Hill, tread lightly. You're basically playing, touchdown Russian roulette with a guy that plays a minimal snap share. I think this week his snap share was 9%. Is that good?
That's not good.
Played 6 snaps. He played a Matt Ryan quarterback rating worth of snaps.
That's not good.
No.
That's not good at all.
Kev, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I think we're good now.
We're back. And
Look
we
at that.
were
We
just
beat
about
the internet.
Yeah. So how you doing this morning? How you feeling?
Feeling good. Packers got back on the right track here. Good week 2 overall. Can't complain one bit.
We were just talking about that game. We talked about the Bears side already and how it was confuddling, really, because everyone was pretty efficient at, they really efficiently cruised their way into a loss there. David Montgomery and Julio Herbert just running for a first down every time they touched the football, really 8.1 or 9.5 yards. But what'd you think about the Packers side, man? Let's go through some of the numbers.
Yeah, so I mean, they pretty much did what they wanted to do against the Chicago Bears. They wanted to run the ball. It's exactly what they did. They mixed in both guys. AJ Dillon led that team with 18 carries, but Aaron Jones is obviously the star tonight with a last night with a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown, 130 yards. He did everything you wanted to see out of a Green Bay team that desperately needed to get back on track and doing what they do best. They mixed in the passing game when they had to. Alan Lazard was back, caught a touchdown, certainly didn't earn the target volume that you really wanted to see if you drafted him in the 6th or 7th round. But, literal alien Sammy Watkins showed up with a 55-yard pass
actual reptilian shapeshifter Sammy Watkins.
You'll love to see it.
The disrespect.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much a statement. Packers win at home. They, passed the ball to a bunch of different guys, ran the ball with authority. They also kind of let up a lot on the run, too. They make Liquid Concrete David Montgomery look pretty spry last night. So,
Liquid Concrete, dude.
Liquid Concrete. Did I ever tell you guys the Sammy free beer with Sammy Watkins story?
No, and I need to hear it right now.
No.
The Clemson, while Simon and I went to Clemson, if you did not know, and while we were there, I think it was like our freshman or sophomore year, the football team had Sammy Watkins and DeAndre Hopkins. Those are the 2 wide receivers in the football team. And so the student government, apparently having a hard time, really reaching the student body, put out an email with the subject header, "Free beer with Sammy Watkins." Of course, they got crazy reception. Everybody opening this email and doing whatever it is. It was just a joke to clickbait to get people to join. Immediately they sent out an apology, like, "We're very sorry. This was like a rogue person who thought it was funny. Like, we're so sorry." And so of course it just became a big thing across the student body. Everyone's like, "Free beer with Sammy Watkins."
Free beer with Sammy Watkins, dude.
Yeah, that's how you market anything.
Ridiculous, dude. You dudes just saw the first email and they already had their backpacks on. They didn't even check the second one, dude. They're just like, "Yeah, let's go, dude. Let's go down to we're all going down to the quad. Sammy's got beers."
Sammy probably got that email and was like, "Oh, hell yeah."
Bruce on Sammy, I love it.
So yeah,
Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, he threw for 19 completions on 25 attempts, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. Some vintage Aaron Rodgers a little bit this week. Like you said, Sammy Watkins was the leader, 3 receptions, 93 yards. Aaron Jones, 3 receptions, 38 yards, and then Randall Cobb was out there as well, 3 receptions, 37 yards. Amongst the rookies, we had Romeo Doubs, who had 2 receptions on 27 yards. On 3 targets, and Christian Watson, 3 receptions on 3 targets for 9 yards. Kevin, what are you thinking about these receivers, this receiver situation here in Green Bay? Who are there any of these guys that you're really targeting for fantasy who maybe people aren't sure of yet? There's still some ambiguity.
Yeah, I mean, there's still quite a bit to shake out still. I mean, this is going to be, a week-to-week thing where we kind of are hoping we see a little more separation. We really didn't get any sign of that last night. I mean, the good thing is that we're seeing, Christian Watson getting involved in, very creative ways, getting the pop passes and getting in motion. We saw kind of the bad end of that where, the ball glanced off him from the center, caused a fumble there. And, whether that was, I believe that could have been the center or the call was wrong on that. And he snapped it prematurely, hit Watson on the back end. But, that's very encouraging to see. Didn't see as much Dubs involvement last night. Really, it was the old heads. It was let's get everybody over the age of 30 involved, and then Lazard, who kind of tends to play like he's over 30. So, it was Randall Cobb who wanted Aaron Rodgers to lean on him, and in key spots that was the case. Sammy Watkins, obviously, with the long gainer, he was plenty involved too, but they really didn't need the passing game as much as it was really just a lead on the run game and pass when you have to. So as far as getting clarity on these guys in fantasy, I think it's still the same kind of thing from week 1 where we're just hoping for either just a blow up game for one of these guys to force the team's hand into starting them when you're talking about guys like Dobbs and you're talking about guys like Christian Watson. But as it stands, either up or down, no change. It's probably more of a no change, at least for these guys in week 2 heading into week 3.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense.
Kev is somebody that I trust when it comes not just the Packers, but all these guys and their utilization. He has this article over on Fantasy Alarm called the Target Report, but it's really way more than that. And then I don't know why we call it the Target Report, because it's like the everything report. I always check this article.
Everything report.
It really is though, because it has the targets, it has the route percentage and the snap share numbers. So I always go to this and I say, who is playing the whole game? Who is running the route? So we look at it last week, it was like Christian Watkins, all these guys. This week, those guys played like 30% of the snaps, Dubs and Watkins, and it was Lazard and those guys. So make sure every week when it's out, Kev, what day does it usually come
out? Thursday morning.
Yeah. Why am I talking about it? It's your article. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this article?
The everything report.
And what is included with it? Because not only does it have the chart, but it's always a little write-up. It kind of tells you what you need to know.
I want to force your hand, so you have to change the name to the everything report. I'm just going to keep marketing as that.
Change it to the hog report.
The hog report.
Yeah, so every Thursday on Fantasy Alarm. Tentatively right now, still the Target Report. We'll see if that ends up getting changed. But basically everybody who ran a route for the team, whether you earned a target or not. There's route percentage, snap percentage, obviously all the key stats. This coming week, it's going to have it was a little bare bones on week 1. But week 2, there's going to be pretty much every metric that you can think of included within that too. So targets per route run, Whopper, all these other stats that are easily calculable. That's too big of a word to be using at 9:30.
Calculable.
Yeah,
we've been up since 7, dude. We've been talking hoglets on here. We've been using all the words.
Isn't that crazy? We've been talking for 2 hours and 47 minutes about hogs and hoglets.
Yeah, thank God we have Kev on here to talk about football. Otherwise,
thank goodness.
I know, with a side of hog. But yeah, so all those stats and metrics, you can find them every Thursday morning for each team, team by team, and then a write-up about not just throwing stats in a grid and just calling it a day. What these stats mean for each player in fantasy, adding context. It's like, having a coloring book page. You can look at all the stats you want. If the page isn't colored in, what good is it? I'm helping to kind of fill in the lines and color the page and add some
now you're talking my language. I wish everyone would put things in terms of coloring books for me.
Like I'm looking
I would understand a lot more things.
I'm looking at it right now, and you said I'm not buying Greg Dortch long term, and then he scored a touchdown this week. So pretty good return on that comment.
Yeah, well, that was also we thought Rondale Moore would be back, so
that's right. That's right. I didn't read the full sentence out loud.
So rude. He just pulls one thing out of context in your article and goes, "Huh? I gotta look at this."
Well, what happened was the waiter brought the coloring book page, but only gave you brown and peach.
Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna get the full crayon book when Rondale Moore's back.
Why do I feel like those are Simon's favorite crown colors?
No
brown and peach.
Yeah, It feels like a Simon Colors, dude. I remember a guy named Simon used to be on this show.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Well, he was on the show back when it was the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show, but now that it's
a lot of people don't know
Hogs,
that. Yeah, we actually started out as the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show.
Yeah, we started out that way, kind of developed into Coop and the Hogs.
Yeah, now Kev's just a normal co-host. Yeah.
That's just how now we're shaking the
just
Hogs
another
out.
hog.
Hey, you know what? Pole perception champ, Wheel of Fortune champ. I mean, look, I wear many hats.
Star hog.
Do whatever you guys want. If we're all
He wears many hogs here.
Yeah. On that show, on the
We're the
3
hog
o'clock show,
wild.
I've never won a game. I've played them all. They even put me with a partner.
You
once.
never won one?
I never won a single game. I don't think so. So bad. They even put me with a partner once. They put me with Kelly Singh.
Even I win sometimes.
Yeah, I win all the time on this show though. Or I used to
That's
win
true.
on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. I've not yet won.
Back in the day,
since-
I don't think we
since-
played any games on Coop and the Hogs.
No, Coop and the Hog is no games, dude. It's no nonsense on Coop and the Hogs. It's just straight facts, bro.
Just straight facts.
Speaking of facts, let's get into these games tonight, man. These games tonight. Kev, why don't we look at which one you want to look at first? Let's go with the one that starts earlier. Tennessee, Buffalo. Are you buying this line here that Buffalo is, monster favorites, 10-point favorites? Do you think Buffalo is 10 points better than Tennessee?
I mean, Tennessee really hasn't looked that great. I mean, granted, we have a 1 week sample size. I mean, just basically, you're looking at can Derrick Henry get going against this Bills offense? Can Tannehill do enough through the passing game with their young guys and Robert Woods to be able to keep up with the Bills? And I just don't know if that's the case. So this is probably one of those cases where you look at a double-digit point line like that, and you can say that's pretty feasible. I'm okay with that. So. Just knowing how, Buffalo looked like they're playing a different game, like compared to the other teams in week 1. I mean, they looked like they were playing, 4D chess, and every other NFL team was playing like Hangman.
Coloring books.
Yeah, pretty much. All they had was white. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
They're just going. But yeah, that double-digit line, I think that's certainly well within play. I could see there's a lot of scenarios where Buffalo just, blows this team out, and Tennessee's just left trying to, pick up the pieces.
Yeah. So with the Vikings, they had Stephon Diggs, they traded him away, then they drafted Justin Jefferson, and he's a megastar. So then the Titans went out, traded away their Stephon Diggs and AJ Brown, drafted Treylon Burks. Why isn't he a superstar yet? I mean, they followed the formula almost exactly, right?
Yeah, he should be AJ Brown.
He should
be Justin Jefferson based on. Well, I thought that was how that worked, right?
That's true.
Yeah, well, it's hard to be Justin Jefferson when you're only getting 37% of the route share in week 1. Yeah, the best of ability is availability. You kind of got to be out there to be able to earn the targets on a per route basis. He earned 5 targets on those 37% routes. So that
now, for our dumber audience listeners, Kev, what is route share?
Yeah,
ask you for a dumber audience.
JL doesn't know what that is.
So percentage of routes per quarterback dropback. So Ryan Tannehill dropped back 35 times. In those 35 dropbacks, Treylon Burks ran a route on 37% of those dropbacks. So that's what, like 13 or so.
Right.
So yeah, whatever it's close to that. But yeah, that's the percentage. So yeah, just on a per route basis, that shows incredible efficiency yards per route run, especially targets per route run. Treylon Burks and Kyle Phillips both rookies crushed in that, and then left everybody else in the dust. They both led the team in targets last week. So Kyle Phillips is questionable with a shoulder injury. Hopefully this is the week that Treylon Burks can get more involved on the offense. When we're looking at fantasy wide receivers, we want to see them get up into that, at minimum 75%, and then getting up to 80, the elite, route runners getting up to like 90%, where they're out on almost every single play. So we want to see these guys get increased usage. Kyle Phillips had 9 targets on only 60% of routes per dropback. So again, the targets per route run, very, very strong for both of these guys. So I think that's going to be a big key, whether, Tennessee has more success, is just integrating more of these younger guys and kind of maybe leaving the Robert Woods and the Nick Westbrook-Akines a bit in the dust. So very encouraging usage for the rookies, but they got to run more routes to be able to see more success and give more opportunity to have Burks be the next AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. So if, let's say, you got to this point and you had Gabe Davis in the flex, right? And he doesn't play in this game. Who are you pivoting to? Kyle Phillips, maybe if he plays under.
He's questionable.
Under 60% owned, you have like James Cook is there, Kenneth Gainwell, 46% owned, Treylon Burks, Irv Smith.
So Dontrell Hilliard's out for this
Austin
game.
Hooper,
He's on the injury report.
out. Yeah. So
Kyle Phillips is questionable.
Zach Moss is out there. Who would you
Steve
pivot
Davis
to
is questionable.
if you, let's say you fell asleep yesterday and you slept through the entire day and pulled like a full Rumpelstiltskin. You woke up today with Gabe Davis in the lineup. Who are you gonna throw in there?
Yeah,
Austin
so
Scott,
I mean,
Jamison Crowder out there.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Yeah, especially if Davis is out. I mean, you got to throw somebody in. Certainly, a guy like McKenzie would probably be owned. So I would not pivot to him. It's likely he's not out there. Crowder's an option. There's one guy you didn't mention that ran 64% of the routes. That's very involved in the Eagles offense. That's Quez Watkins. Like I don't even mind him as like a deep, dart throw.
Oh, Quez.
DFS play too, potentially. Now we're getting up against it here, but in that game, we have Minnesota at the Eagles. Line opened at -3. Now it's at -2.5. Over under is 50.5, so should be a good game. We want to see close spreads, high over unders. Those are the best games. So it looks like a good matchup. Who you got in this one? Just outright. Forget the spread. Who do you think outright wins this game?
I mean, outright, just based on how they looked, I would probably go with the Philadelphia Eagles. If they're going to be at home, but I mean, Minnesota looked really good too. I think we all win, honestly. I mean, why can't these teams don't need to win? We all win if we're able to watch this game based on their week ones. I mean, both offenses look just otherworldly. The best friends narrative was certainly in effect in week one with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. Dial up some more of that, and then obviously Justin Jefferson on the other side. But if you're forced to pick a team, I guess it's gonna have to be the Eagles. As a staunch Packer fan and not at all biased.
Birds, Hogs. Emily Anderson saw in the chat throwing out the chestnut.
What up, Emily? Good morning.
What's up, Em? Julius Chestnut. That now that name has been said in this chat, I feel compelled to create Hog. Julius Chestnut, what a great name. I feel compelled to make a DFS lineup with Julius Chestnut in there. Because Derrick Henry, we know he's an absolute hog, but he doesn't run a lot of routes, and 0 catches last week. So there's an opening for somebody to play that role. Will it be Julius Chestnut? I don't know, but it would be awesome if it was, right? For Emily.
Yeah, he has not run a route since the Carter administration, per my source.
The Carter administration. Wow.
Great.
Quite a time ago. 49.5 over under on this game. I'll take the Vikings.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Eagles. I like the Eagles. Vikings, if it were in Minnesota, I think this one's close enough where if it was in Minnesota, I would take the Vikings. But the home field advantage for me for the Eagles early in the season, getting these guys on the road, new coach in Minnesota. So can be a little mix up there sometimes. So awesome. Well, Kev, thank you for popping in, my dude. I will see you tonight for the Fantasy Besties. 7:15.
Absolutely.
I'll be in that chat
on Twitter. Yeah, we'll be up in there, dude. Make sure you come join us. Kev, tell everybody what you got going on, where they can find your stuff. What day the Everything Target Hog Report drops. What you got going on, man?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at KTompkins II. That II is for the second because I am Kevin Tompkins the second. So just putting that out there because everybody's been lately has been asking me, where does the II come from? So I just want to put those matters to bed. And then also the Everything Report, tentatively known as the Target Report on Fantasy Alarm.
Yes.
You can find that every Thursday morning, fantasyalarm.com. So go check that out, as well as the Fantasy Besties in and around 7:15 Eastern every Monday evening with, of course, Coop, Linda, JB, and Jordan Loop, and myself. I guess I'm a part of that too. Of course, lightning round on Wednesdays with Coop. I mean, everything I do, Coop is attached to the hip. So
we're doing it, dude. Fantasy Alarm stuff, man. Yeah. So thank you, my dude. Appreciate you coming in, dude. Joining us, dude.
Love you, Kev.
JL,
Appreciate you, brother.
why don't you take us out, my man? We got about 30 seconds left on this puppy.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the Coop and the Hog. You're listening on the Better Sports Network. Make sure you download the app because we got a dope lineup coming out. We'll see you tomorrow.